Cool.
Sure. Hello and welcome back to the One World Sports Radio coverage of the first T20. I do apologize. Oh, not the first T20. I did that. The first test match at Centurion on Boxing Day. We are back live and just waiting for the teams to get down onto the field. You are listening to One World Sports Radio, and as I put the banner up, please remember to connect with us on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. I'll put up our little slide. Sorry, just checking that one, just to make sure that we're live on the air. Hello to our radio viewers radio listeners as well, as we bring you this test match live in a different way, Otto, to what we normally do, which is also pretty exciting as the One World Sports team now moves to the digital age forced by COVID.
Yes, no, it's very nice to be back on the air, and we've had a complete break from anything sport for about 2 months, and then slowly getting back to seeing some cricket on Boxing Day, which is lovely. So we're very happy to have Sri Lanka here in Pretoria, in South Africa, in the capital city, in Centurion. And Sri Lanka are definitely in the driving seat at the moment, thanks to Dinesh Chandimal and De Silva, who unfortunately for Sri Lanka has retired hurt, and it looks like he won't be taking part in the rest of this match. Hopefully he can recover, but the next test starts when, on the 2nd or the 3rd?
On the 3rd. So it's not a lot of time for him to. But just to give the people, let's give our listeners and viewers a lay of the land. So Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to bat. Sri Lanka are currently 212 runs for 3. At T. They opened with Dimuth Karunaratne, who was bowled by Ngidi for 22. He chopped on. Kusal Perera, remember the hero of Durban. He had 16 runs, caught the cock, bowled by Vian Mulder, who's playing a second test match for South Africa. And then Kusal Mendes was out. The only other wicket to have fallen today for 12. Caught Ngidi, bowled Nokia. That was a pull to the fielder at mid-on. The only other, then currently, Dinesh Chandimal is 50 not out, with Niroshan Dikwela 11 not out. Dananjaya De Silva, as you were talking, Otto, was out for 79, retired hurt. Not necessarily out, he's retired hurt. He could come back, but he has to obviously wait a length of time because of the fact that he's left the field. So we'll just try and look out to see if he'll come back, or if there are any updates from the Sri Lankan media team as to whether this will be it. Remember, you can tweet us at Guerilla SA. You can also send us comments on YouTube and on Facebook. We are really trying to go live. We're trying to sort out the scoreboard. If you're wanting to know, it is a little bit of a disappointment, but we'll get that up and running probably for tomorrow morning. I'll try to work through the night to get this to get it up and running. But yes, so as we go into the T session, Otto, what are you expecting?
Well, we need to see some attacking plans here by South Africa, because in that second session, it really looked like they just allowed the Sri Lankans to dictate the pace of the game. And the run rate slowed down significantly after De Silva left the field. So I would like to see, how the South Africans plan to take wickets here, because it's been a little bit docile, bad fielding in the outfield by the South Africans. No drop catches, but lots of fumbles and misfields, allowing runs, 22 extra so far. So that's something I'd like to see them sharpen up, as the first ball is bowled here by Keshav Maharaj, who is left-handed over the wicket, to Niroshan Dikwela. He's on 11. He plays this defensively out to backward point, and there's no run. And we'll see Maharaj coming in again, and this is a sweep shot, top edge, and it falls into no man's land. Sweep shot there by Guerilla. They take a single. It's fielded by Temba Bavuma, who ran around from square leg. Guerilla there with a smile on his face as he misjudged this one. It came off his gloves and flew over the head of Faf du Plessis at first slip. Or is that Algar? That's Algar.
Yeah.
And Bavuma tied his up. Now Maharaj is going to be bowling to Dinesh Chandamal, who is unbeaten on half century, 213 for 3. Yes, please do tweet us your thoughts. So
you've got a 5-4 field to Chandamal. There's a slip, and there's a field of point, extra cover, and one at mid-on. And there's another one at conventional cover.
Yeah, this one driven out to mid-off, and they go through for an easy single there. Guerilla is now on 12, Chandamal on 51, and Sri Lanka 214 for 3. As we see Maharaj opening the bowling for South Africa in the session after tea, and he's going to go over the wicket now to the left hand. Another sweep shot. This one he got the paddle sweep there, and Bavuma chases the ball down to fine leg, and they'll probably get 2. Yes, they do. Come through for 216 for 3 now. And so Guerilla has definitely got a bit more of an attacking approach to Maharaj, which I think is good for Sri Lanka, because Maharaj has been quite economical. So
look,
if they
the
can
ball's
put some
not
pressure on him.
The ball's not turning, so it's a lot easier that way to play.
Yeah, this one driven past diving Maharaj out to mid-on by the left-hander, and they go through for another single, 217 for 3. They can't afford to let Maharaj tie them down too much, because that will give Quinton de Kock too many options, rotating his fast bowlers from the other end. So let's see Maharaj with the final delivery around the wicket to Chandamal, and defends us back down the pitch. No run. End of the over. Over number is, we'll see now, as the speed there, 80 kilometers an hour, 53, 53rd over, first over after tea.
Look, Otto, I think there was a tweet you guys were speaking about when I asked why Sipamla wasn't bowling, and I got it. One of the answers I got was from Sean Analytics on Twitter, who said that Quinton could be necessarily considering the the over rate. And also, yes, you're trying to, because there's that balance, I think, that you need to consider, whether you obviously have the over rate and try to slow down the game, but also you want to take wickets. What Graham always did was that he tried to slow the game down as much as possible, which is what I think Quinton's trying to do here by bowling Maharaj. At one end, try have him be economical, and then have the quicks on the other end try be economical and dry the game out and see if they can't get this wicket of Chandamal.
So Ngidi is around the wicket to Guerilla, left-handed, onto the pads, flicks this out to square leg on the boundary, fielded by Vian Mulder. They go through for a single. So Ngidi is into the attack now, second over after tea, and he's been okay. He got that wicket playing the batsman playing on with this line to the left-hander bowling around the wicket. So they're continuing with that attack, and now he's got to deal with the left-hand right-hand combination. So he's going to be bowling now to Chandamal. And just having a look at the condition of the ball, it's still quite shiny and new. Even the print still showing on the one side there. So with COVID, you can't do
put saliva on it.
Yeah, the saliva is gone. Okay, Ngidi over the wicket now to through to Quinton de Kock for no run.
Yes, and obviously we're playing in COVID conditions. The players had to train earlier this week. When they joined the camp, they had to train in staggered in groups, and they call it staggered training, so you can minimize the risk of if there's a spread inside the team. And then after that, once the initial tests were done, they could train as a group, which only happened, I think that was Monday night, Tuesday afternoon, or that's when they were able to train as an entire group. And then now they are obviously everyone's fine, but you still can't use saliva on the ball to shine the ball. If you do that and umpires see you, they'll take the ball away and probably wipe it. That's what we saw in the UK. They wiped it with like the wet wipes.
Yeah, so that last delivery by Ngidi to Chandamal was just defended out to mid-wicket, and they took a single. So the ball, since it lost its seam, hasn't been moving off the pitch as we saw in the first innings. It's not swinging yet. It probably won't for another 15 or 20 overs. As we've said already, the outfield here is quite kind to the ball. Ngidi goes around the wicket, attacks the off stump. Dikwela leaves this, and a good leave, you have to say, because he didn't lose his wicket. But that was close to the off stump.
Yes, very close to the off stump. A little bit of reverse swing there. Ball tailing back in to the left-handed batsman off stump there, just missing those stumps coated in and that Betway coating there. But very good ball from Ngidi.
Yeah, no, well spotted them. Just as I was saying, the ball isn't swinging yet. Ngidi does get it to move through the air a little bit, so that's promising signs for South Africa. Ngidi goes around the wicket again to Dikwela, fends this off his hip down to his fine leg, and that looks like Sapamla down there. They take an easy single. 220 now for 3, and one last ball to go in Ngidi's first over after tea. End of the 54th over, this will be. Barring another late call by the third umpire for a no ball.
This is very good to see from Sri Lanka, because everybody kept on talking about how they haven't played Test cricket in 9 months, how they've only played Sri Lanka T20 over the past couple of months, and the longer format may be a little bit of a struggle to them, but they've done incredibly well so far, especially Chandamal and Dhananjaya De Silva.
Yep, and Chandamal just defended that ball off the back foot, no run. 220 for 3 after 54. Certainly the top 3, the first 3 batters from Sri Lanka were in one-day mode. They played some wild shots and paid the price with the wickets, I thought. Not really letting South Africa take their wickets, but rather giving their wickets away. With some loose strokes and some cross-bat shots that balls they could have left alone. So in that second session, we saw De Silva and Chandamal play the test innings that you expect from those experienced players in the middle order. And Maharaj continues now to Dikwela over the wicket, dancing down the wicket comes Dikwela, and he pushes this out to mid-on. They take an easy single. So it's still, apart from Ngidi getting some swing there, Maharaj trying to hold up this end, we're still not really seeing how South Africa are going to take these wickets. If Ngidi can keep swinging the ball, we might be in business.
Yes, Otto, and I think that's the plan, is to try see if you can't get the ball to reverse a bit. Yes, they're not using saliva, they're using sweat to shine the ball. So that's a very important thing that we all need to understand.
Maharaj around the wicket to Chandamal, defends this out to extra cover, no run. So we've got Markram here at silly mid-on. He's just in front of square on the leg side. Maharaj again over the wicket. Chandamal uses his feet, pushes this past the diving short extra cover down to mid-off, and they take a single. And so they are looking to use their feet to Maharaj, because if they can knock him out of the attack, it's going to limit Quinton de Kock's options. So I'm not bowling to his potential, not playing up to his potential. We know he's better than what he's shown so far. And Maharaj will now go over the wicket left-handed to Dikwela. One slip in, silly mid-on, who fields this ball as it's pushed down the wicket.
He's getting a bit of drift in. He's getting a bit of drift into the left-handed Dikwela, but it's not doing much off the surface.
No, and another sweep shot here, and a diving short fine leg or fine leg up into what would be the circle squirts out to the man on the boundary. They take 2 runs, 224 now for 3. One ball remaining in Maharaj's second over of his spell off the tee. De Guerilla playing the sweep shot there. Or was that Bavuma? Almost, he got a hand to it, so he certainly saved 2 runs there. Let's see what Maharaj does with this one. Outside off stump defended. They're looking for a quick single as the man at slip has to run all the way to point to field, and 225 for 3, 55 overs gone.
Yes, yes, and I think there's one criticism you could say about Quinton de Kock is that he allowed the game to meander by the use of having Keshav Maharaj bowl straight after lunch. He kind of gave Sri Lanka a little bit more room to necessarily express themselves when the whole plan for South Africa was to come out guns blazing with your quicks, and I think that's where I think you could criticize Quinton for that. The South Africans haven't been bowling proper lines. They've been bowling a lot of wide balls, which are wide and full and easy to be played. They haven't necessarily tested the batsman consistently. You know, you need to get a grouping of balls to put pressure on the batsman, and they haven't done that.
Ngidi around the wicket to De Guerilla full on off stump and shot at stump there from Ngidi back to Quinton. And there is no run. Yeah, no, the Sri Lankans definitely capitalized on this, sort of drifting along attitude that South Africa showed after lunch. Nice shape in there by Ngidi. De Guerilla left his crease, but he got back, and the throw went just wide of De Guerilla's off stump, the left-hander. Ngidi coming around the wicket to De Guerilla, who is now on 21. And Dinesh Chandimal on 53. Let's see what Ngidi can do with this one. He's got, how many slips has he got? 2 slips in around the wicket. De Guerilla knocks this one outside his off stump to mid-on, and they take a quick single. And that'll be 226 now for 3. So,
yes.
Yeah, it was only Vian Mulder who really got the line and length thing going. Ngidi has been good as well. I'd like to see Ngidi come over the wicket to the left-hander as well as he's doing to the right-hander, because that line that Sepamla bowled to De Guerilla really troubled him. And we're not seeing that from Ngidi. He's coming around the wicket to the left-hander, and this Chandimal on the right-hander is now facing Ngidi. And still 2 slips there. On the middle stump, defended to mid-wicket, and there's no run.
Yes, I think Luto Sipamla actually brought it quite back in that second spell of his after lunch, where he bowled with a lot of control. He bowled with aggression. He was unlucky in terms of getting a wicket, but he actually, you could see that there was an improvement from that horrific start that he had in just before lunch, that opening spell.
Yeah, De Silva's departure definitely helped him bringing De Guerilla to the crease, and he looked like he might cause some trouble for De Guerilla. This one is chopped over point gully, backward point gully area for a 4 by Dinesh Chandimal. Not a convincing shot, but flashing at a wide one and connecting with the ball.
Look, it's wide and it's short and you wide, don't have a third man. So I don't understand what the plan is here from South Africa. Normally, when you open the batting and you're looking for wickets and you're looking to get someone edge, that third man is there. I really don't get why there isn't one there, because that would have been that shot wouldn't have gone. And if he decided to still play it, that's down the throat of third man. So. It's either, I think Ngidi's not bowling to his field, because it looks like Quinton wants him to bowl a lot straighter than that last ball.
Yeah, he's got no protection on that third man boundary, and he's got no gully as well. This one on middle stump, defended out to mid-on by Chandimal, and there's no run. 230 now for 3 is the score. 1 ball left in Ngidi's over in this final session of day 1. And we're looking at some images of the pool in the castle corner, where you would usually find the rowdiest bunch of fans, and of course looking quite deserted at the moment. They've got the umbrellas up to get the sponsor's name out there, but nobody in there at all. Chandimal now facing the final delivery from Ngidi onto the stumps, just down leg side, too much leg side line from Ngidi, and they don't take the single because Quinton managed to stop the ball from reaching the boundary with a dive to his left. And we see the braai area where you would usually have the smoke wafting over the field of play here at Centurion on the grass banks. Sadly deserted at the moment. 45-run partnership. So
Do you know what this presents?
Nicely into the silver shoes.
Do you know what this presents? It presents an advertising opportunity, especially on the banks. You can get, and this maybe is where CSA needs to start thinking, get companies or your sponsors to sponsor, to have their logos splayed out on top, all in on the banks, just to bring in more money. And a little bit more revenue into that. I think obviously at the Wanderers you'll probably have to do it on the seated area, but we've seen it in international soccer and sport.
In all the sports, they've been using the grandstand, the empty stands to because the main give more exposure to their sponsors, because they're losing all that revenue from the gate takings and the sales of food and beverages inside the stadium. No, you're right, Mpho. Maharaj over the wicket to Guerilla. He pushes this out to mid-wicket, the left-hander, and they take a lazy single, 231 for 3. Now they've got a sponsor on the side screen. They might as well just invite the sponsors to put some more banners up there, because we saw in the South African rugby series that they played, they actually were able to accommodate like 15, 20 different sponsors. Maharaj goes around the wicket to Chandimal, who defends this out to cover, and they don't take a single. Ball is quickly to the fielder and just as quickly back in Quinton de Kock's hands.
Yes, look, I think Sri Lanka would want to take this total to close to 400 here. They need to be careful not to have a collapse of sorts, but the way South Africa is bowling and the plans that South Africa are providing to Sri Lanka, there is no pressure that the South Africans are putting onto Sri Lanka in terms of them needing to score quickly or to score runs, largely because of the start that they've had.
Chandimal comes down the wicket. That previous delivery was defended onto the offside for no run. This one is whipped across his pads out to deep mid-wicket for a 4 by Dinesh Chandimal, 235-3. Just straying in his line there, Maharaj. Full toss, Chandimal took a half step forward and beats the man at mid-wicket, close to the wicket.
It was just
bisects the two fielders there, mid-on, and mid-wicket. Maharaj again around the wicket to the right-hander. This one is fielded at short extra cover, and there is no run again. So quite a handy partnership here by these two for Sri Lanka. I think they've let's just check what is the partnership at the moment. This one also dancing down the wicket and whips it past mid-on, does Dinesh Chandimal for another boundary. And once again, Maharaj letting the pressure slip there. 8 runs conceded, 9 runs off that over 54-run partnership now of 74 balls. So once again, just too much, too loose by the South Africans.
Yes, it is, and you just need a set of overs, about 2 to 3 overs, where it's either maiden or 1 or 2, no boundaries, just to dry everything up, to make the Sri Lankans think that they need a release shot. You know, in any format of cricket, obviously in the limited format of cricket, the more dot balls you rack up, the more the pressure comes in. Whereas here, you need a lot more overs to create the pressure. And to a certain extent, that's one of the things that this team needs to learn if they want to win cricket matches, test matches. And so that's where That's where the
around the wicket to Guerilla, who pushes this out to the extra cover boundary. They take 2 runs. That's the start of the 55th over. Let me just check that for you here. 58th over, sorry. And Sri Lanka go to 241 for 3. So Ngidi carrying on with this line around the stumps. So let's see if he can build some dots, string some dots together here. Ngidi full and outside off stump, and just angled that out to gully where it's fielded, and there is no run. And also, with this left-hand, right-hand combination, you don't want them to rotate the strike, because you need to also settle into a line and length to the left-hander or the right-hander. And if they keep rotating the strike, it just makes the bowler's job that much more difficult. And Sri Lanka have been good. These two have been good in rotating the strike and frustrating the efforts of the South African bowlers.
And this partnership is now 56 runs of 76 balls, which is something and that's another thing, for teams looking to win test matches, especially for South Africa, and when they come into bat, it's about partnerships. You do everything in partnerships, even bowling. And so far, there hasn't been that partnership where you in the bowling attack where you're like, okay, South Africa can create pressure.
Yeah, Yorker there by Ngidi on off stump or just outside, squeezed away to extra cover by Guerilla for a single, 242 for 3. So the plan here from Ngidi seems to be, try and get that little bit of movement through the air that we've seen, and try and force the batsman to play. With this line coming into the left-hander around the wicket, makes it difficult for Guerilla to leave the ball, although he has a left one that went about a 4th stump line past this off stump. Chandimal will now face Ngidi, 242 for 3. He comes over the wicket with 2 slips in, on off stump, just outside, defended to extra cover, and there's no run.
Look, and I think that's been the problem with South Africa's bowling tandems, as you'd call them, as there's never been a bowl so you've got Nokia bowling with Via and Mulder, which is very good, but Nokia was quite expensive. He was going at 4 runs and over, so it's a boundary and over. So that pressure is being alleviated, even though Vian's bowling quite well on the other end. Whereas even with Ngidi starting with Sipamla, Sipamla was leaking a lot of runs early on. And so it's hard to create the pressure. I mean, Morne Moko used to do this with Dale Steyn all the time. He'd keep the pressure on the one end, and Dale would take all the wickets. Oh my word!
Oh, outside off stump, and a nice driving shot there by Chandimal, which flies past second slip and gully for 4. Well, that's not too bad. If he keeps doing that, he's going to definitely let one through to the slips. Ngidi's got half a smile on his face there. Nice drive there by Chandimal, and let's see where that went exactly. Right,
it went through
in the gap,
that wide
second slip, and that was about a 4th slip. So just a little bit too thick of an edge. But you keep doing that, Ngidi. We don't mind the driving edges going to the boundary, as long as it's not a bad delivery. So let's see what he does with this next one over the wicket to Chandimal. 2 slips in. This one is driven off the back foot to extra cover, and there is no run.
Yes, 246 for 3 at the end of that over. Sri Lanka in the driving seat. They've won the second session. South Africa, you would have thought, won the first session, but Sri Lanka came back very strongly, scoring another 100 runs in that second session. They're scoring at a very healthy rate of the Sri Lankans in this innings, at a rate of 4.25. which is it's a one-day rate, as many of the commentators we had today have been saying.
And we're just looking at a spread here of the deliveries by the South African seamers, and only about about 10% of the deliveries actually hitting the stumps. 23 hitting the stumps, 252 balls missing the stumps. So they were relying on the Sri Lankans to make mistakes and not forcing the guys to play at too many deliveries. We're going to see Luto Sipamla replacing Keshav Maharaj. He's coming in from the Henops River end. He's going around the wicket to Dikwela with 2 steps in place. Oh, nice delivery by Sipamla. Drive by Dikwela, misses it completely. Beats the outside edge, through to Quinton de Kock for no run. So that's a bit better. Even if you're not going to hit the stumps, at least create some doubt in the batsman's mind. Nice movement off the seam again.
Yes.
Off the pitch.
Just trying to see. Yeah, it's moving away from the shiny side. So there could be a little hint of reverse there from Luto Sipamla, which is something that is something that could help the South Africans as they take us through.
That's another one outside off stump by Luto Sipamla through to the keeper for no run. Yeah, we need all the help we can get at this point. Let's see if Sipamla can show us his true ability. It looks like he's got that concentration written on his face. 4 more deliveries remaining in this over. If he can string some dots together here to Dikwela, that'll certainly help his confidence and also improve his captain's confidence in what he can deliver for the team today.
Yeah.
Runs up around the wicket again to Dikwela. And this one is on the stumps, played out to deep mid-wicket by Dikwela. They go through for an easy single. So straying in his line a little bit.
What that graphic was saying, Otto, was that it gives you an indication of what South Africa were thinking and are still thinking is where they'll get their wickets from. They'll get their wickets caught behind, caught on the offside, caught either through an edge or a mistime, rather than necessarily bringing in the LBW and the bowled into the equation. There are many other forms of dismissals outside of being caught, and I think that's the disappointing thing about the South African bowling attack.
Yeah, Sipamla goes to Chandimal, who just defends this off his back foot out to point, and they take another single. 248 for 3. So good.
We have
Sipamla in the first 2 balls, and then strayed a little bit in his line. That one cramped Chandimal for room. Yes.
Got a tweet here from Nakul Pandey. He was saying that Ntini, Makhaya Ntini is an old 43 and looking good with it.
Yes, he looks. He reminds me of an old lady with his hairstyle that he's sporting at the moment and his glasses. Sipamla to Dikwela outside off stump, straightens after it hits the pitch and through to the Kock for no run.
I'm just loving his afro. That's what I'm here for.
With those grey streaks going across his the top of his head, it looks quite cool. Yeah, he looks like what is that? Samuel L. Jackson character, the Glass Man. What is that?
In what movie?
Name just escapes me now, but he's legend of South African cricket. Makhaya Ntini doing commentary as well, and around the wicket goes Sipamla, fishes at this, does Dikwela out to gully along the ground, no run, I would think. No, 248 for 3. Good stuff there by Sipamla, a lot better.
Yes, a much better over from Luto Sipamla. I think the one thing that I'd want to say for the South Africans is that you need to make the Sri Lankans play a lot more. You need to hone in on off stump. You need to make them think twice whether to play or not. They are coming out with a very aggressive style, and they're landing the punches. Mark Barcher was speaking on Tuesday in the press conference that they wanted to land the early punches. I think it was Quinton de Kock, one of them, and they did with the 3 wickets, but Sri Lanka were fighting back and swinging on their own. And right now, in this last session and now, they seem to be swinging hard at South Africa, and they have to take the blows. We're looking at the ICC World Test Championship. Sri Lanka are ranked 6th, having only played 4 test matches. South Africa are 8th, having only played 7. Sri Lanka's points are 80, and South Africa's points are 24. So this series, there's 120 points up for grabs, which means that this test match alone is worth 60 points. So whoever wins this really will open up a gap, or well, Sri Lanka will open up a gap if they win.
Good fielding at extra cover, and Gidi goes to Chandimal, who plays this to extra cover quickly back to the bowler's end, and they couldn't take a single. That's Temba Bavuma. Let's look at the replay here. Yeah, he's standing at a short extra cover, runs around to his right, gets the ball in quickly to a diving Guerilla, gets back into his crease. But beware, don't run singles to Bavuma in the covers. 248 for 3. Yeah, no, this it's quite interesting. This Test Championship, and just looking at South Africa's performance hasn't been great. One win from 7 matches, and Gidi goes over the wicket, and this one is leading edge in front of his stumps, and Chandimal wants to come through for the single. Guerilla sends him back, and rightly so. That would have been a bit risky. Guerilla was not paying attention. I think that could have been a single there. If he had backed up a little bit more. 248 for 3.
Yes, and so those 24 points are really, really hard. South Africa losing to India in that series in India, that was 3-0, and then having the losses to England after winning that first test in Centurion actually last year.
Gidi now again over the wicket to Chandimal, plays this off his leg stump. Easy single there, at least, if not 2. No, they just take a single. 249 for 3. So once again, Ngidi just straying onto the pads there a little bit. He might be looking to bring the ball into the right-hander, attacking the off stump, but just not the right line there.
No, Otto, I don't think it was the right line. South Africans struggling to just be consistent and bowl wicket to wicket, and you can see that. They're missing that bowler that can bowl that off stump, top of off consistently all the time. Vernon Philander did retire earlier on last season, and also Glenton Steedman, who was touted as a bowler similar to Vernon, he picked up a niggle, and so he'll be ready for the next.
Around the wicket, cut past gully to the fence for 4 by Guerilla. Great shot there. Nice control. Full control of that shot. Wide outside off stump and punished.
Short ball there, short and wide, and it's just very easy to be cut. To give you a sense of how wide it is, it's on that inside crease marking there, and that's about a 6-7 stump line. So it's not a risky shot for Guerilla to play that cut down to third man.
No, certainly not. Around the wicket again, this one defended solidly by Guerilla out to extra cover, and there's no run. So that's what Ngidi should be doing. He should be aiming that fourth stump line, bringing the ball into the left-hander, trying to get through the gate, trying to get the edge. It's just not happening. It's the execution isn't there.
Yes, and a couple of plays and of batsmen playing back to the bowlers. It's not something to be scoffed at, and I think that's where South Africa would want to just slow the game. We've been asking them to slow the game down since probably the first hour.
This one down the leg side by Ngidi, and just watches it go past his legs. Does Guerilla to talk for no run. 253 for 3. That's the end of Ngidi's over. He has bowled. Let's see here. He has bowled 13 overs and conceded 53 runs, only 1 maiden wicket, and economy of 4.08. Only 52 dot balls.
And the last 10 overs, Otto, have gone for 56 runs, which is something that the South Africans really need to start trying to bring back, because obviously Chandimal's on 71 of 140. Guella's on 31, and this partnership is 131 runs already in this game.
This was the previous one. I see
Oh,
here
the
that they're
previous
not showing
partnership,
the
yes.
current one. Yeah. Okay, and this
Yes,
one by Sipamla out by Chandamal to point, and they don't take a run. 253 for 3. Bavuma fields it, so there's no chance of a run there. Yeah, Sipamla brought it back nicely. He's bowling his 11th over 58 runs. So from his horrible start here this morning, he's done really well to get himself back to respectable sounding figures. He's got 2 slips and a gully. He's bowling to Dinesh Chandamal over the wicket, the right-hander. Let's see what Sipamla does with this one. A wide outside off stump, slashes at it, does Chandamal through to Quinton de Kock for no run. Chandamal is on 70 off 142 balls, and Guerilla is on 31. Great partnership here after the retirement of De Silva. So we'll just see, where did he retire? Did De Silva 185 when he retired? So that would make this partnership worth.
It's 185.
70,
so it's just shy of 78 runs right now.
Great work by Guerilla replacing De Silva, and Sipamla bowls this one outside off stump, better line, defended off his back foot or driven off his back foot to extra cover for no run. 253 for 3.
Yes, and obviously Sri Lanka have Dashin Shanaka to come in after this, and Wanindu Hasaringa, and Shanaka's batting hasn't been the greatest there, and he averages 5, and Hasaranga is on test debut, but he is a right-hand bat all-rounder.
Full and wide by Sipamla, and this one is driven out to the man sweeping on the covers. They will take 2. Chandamal moves on to 72 now, 255 for 3.
Yeah, no, this team has really let this game meander and slip, and they just aren't bowling close enough to the stumps in order to either bring in the slips or even bring in LBW or a bold chance. And
well, let's give Sri Lanka the credit they deserve as well, because they weathered this the storm after they lost those early 3 wickets in the first session, and they've taken control of the game. So Pamela, nice line there on off stump, driven straight back to him, deflects off his legs, it looked like, and they take a single down to on. But that's a better line as well, just on off stump. Making the batsman play. It was a good shot. The
length there was a problem there. It just turned it into a half volley, and some good timing from Chandamal. Great fielding by Sipamla to get a hand onto it to stop that ball to deflect that ball out to the fielder. So it's very good moment of cricket in that period.
He's just straying on length there, as you said, and he's going to continue now to be going around the wicket to the left-hander on off stump. Better line there by Sipamla. The loose deliveries are few and far between right now from Sipamla. That's the end of the over. 256 for 3, and Chandamal is on 73, and Guerilla is on, let's see, he is on 31 or 54. And Chandamal has faced 145 for his 74. So, Chandamal and De Silva really took control of the game. They showed a lot of patience. They waited for the bad deliveries, of which there were quite a few, as we said. But you can only play as long as your opposition lets you, and they definitely took all the opportunities they were given. Didn't even, no drop catches, no chances in the field. And as you said, Mpho, not really attacking the stumps, so the batsmen really have played well for Sri Lanka so far.
Look, and it's not, yes, their shot selection was very expansive, but the lines and the balls that the South Africans were bowling to them were baiting them into that, and it would be a mistimed shot that would have gotten them wickets. And we saw that with the early 3 Sri Lankan wickets, quite soft. It was a mistiming, especially the wicket of Kusal Mendes that was caught at mid-wicket, at mid-on. That one was a mistimed shot and an ill-advised shot, you could say, but the ball was there to be hit. It was short, it was wide, and it was mistimed.
Nortje replaces Ngidi, and this was driven by Chandimal past the diving extra cover, mid-off fields it, and they go through for a single, 257 for 3. Excuse me, that's Wiaan Mulder, who has replaced Ngidi. So let's see if Wiaan can buy us a wicket here, or at least slow the game down enough, string some dots together. That first one was a single. Really, South Africa need a wicket here, and they need a wicket very, very quickly. The clouds have gone now from Centurion Park. The sun is out. We forgot to get a weather report from Simon. Maybe you can keep us one. Wiaan Mulder over the wicket, on the leg stump, and this one is flicked out to square leg. Avuma runs back, and it looks like they're going to take 2.
Yes,
they do that 259 for 3. 62nd over.
Yeah, it was raining on my side of the world, which is about 100 kilometers south of Centurion. So I don't think there'll be that threat of the afternoon thunder showers. But yeah, the South Africans really struggling here against this very strong Sri Lankan batting attack.
Now Wiaan Mulder has also started spraying the ball all over the place. That one goes down the leg side. Well, if he loses his consistency, he's not got much else going for him in terms of speed. So that one didn't yield a run for Sri Lanka, but way down the leg side by Wiaan Mulder. Still 259 for 3. De Silva is sitting there in the team's box. Wiaan Mulder again, and down the leg side, and Dikwela misses it. Luckily for Mulder, Quinton does not. No run.
Yes, you can see Dikwela sitting there in the box. Not Dikwela, Dhananjaya De Silva sitting in the box, and his hamstring, his quad is strapped.
It looks like a pressure bandage of some kind that's on his thigh. So he's probably strapped around the hips.
Yeah. It's really tough not having had only having played the T20 to come, be quarantined again, so not a lot of cricket being played, and then being asked to play a much longer format of the game and bat for the time that he batted for. Let's just check how much time he batted for, but he batted for over like an hour, close to about 2 hours there. Did Dhananjaya De Silva.
That last one was a better delivery by Dikwela or to Dikwela by Wiaan Mulder on off stump, defended for no run. So still 259 for 3. One more ball to go in this over. Outside off stump, flashes at this over mid on, goes Dikwela down to the boundary for 4. And so 263 for 3 is the score after 62 overs. Attacking shot there by Dikwela. He's attacking Wiaan Mulder much like the openers did. Maybe they think if they can take advantage of Wiaan Mulder, that will also once again limit the options. So very attacking shot to Wiaan Mulder from outside off stump to mid on.
Yes, no, Otto. Otto. It was just too full a ball and too straight to the left hander. Remember, Wiaan's coming right arm over to the left hander, and it was just easy for him to pick that ball up. That wasn't even going on with the angle, and so it was just dispatched behind the bowler's head. Very good batting from this partnership. 78 runs already. Chandimal's contributed 33. Dikwela's contributed 37. It's a really good counter punch to the South Africans, who thought they had a bit of a breakthrough with the retirement of Dhananjaya De Silva, but they've just found a capable replacement in Niroshan Dequela.
Yep, Sepamla's first delivery to Chandamal is on off stump and defended for no run. So Sepamla is continuing where Ngidi was replaced. So good signs there from Sepamla, looking a lot better as he goes along, steadily improving. Outside off stump now to Chandamal, who plays a drive out to mid off, and they don't take a single. So this is looking better and better for Sepamla as the day moves on, and hopefully he can just improve that little bit more because we know what he's capable of, and he hasn't shown it yet. So waiting for him to join the party. Well, anybody, please, you need a wicket. We don't care who it is. It would be nice if Sepamla gets one here, but just anything. Sepamla again outside off stump, Chandamal drives the back foot to extra cover, and there's no run.
Yes, yeah, just not bowling on the top of off, not forcing the batsman back. It feels like South Africa's plan was bowl as quickly as possible, try get into that fourth, fifth stump line to get them driving, because we assume the Sri Lankan batsmen are just going to give up their wickets like a subcontinental team. The world has moved on. We're seeing teams like India batting well in Australia. They batted well here in South Africa. And so we have to move on from that plan.
Sepamla outside the off stump to Chandamal, who wafts at this one across the line, trying to play a pull shot to deep mid wicket, but he misses it completely, and it goes through to Quinton for a run. 62.4 overs gone now. Nice few balls here by Sepamla so far this over. Looking a lot better, as I said, as he's getting into his work here. Geez, man, we know he's better than this. He must just show his best now and get a breakthrough here for South Africa. Dinesh Chandamal on 74 faces Sepamla. So with two chips still in place, a shot by Chandamal out to the point boundary for another 4.
Yes, yes, that was a shot of intent there from Dinesh Chandamal. Sepamla struggling today to find a consistent line and length that he can just hone in on. Those are the pressures of Test cricket. Obviously, at domestic level, he probably would have gotten away with a few, but now it's become a lot tougher.
No, these are two quality players. They've been in South Africa before a few times, I think. And they're definitely showing their class here, the Sri Lankans. Sepamla over the wicket again. Chandamal chops this one off the back foot again. It was quite short and not a lot of room, but just enough. And he gets it down to the sweeper on the boundary for a single. 268 now for 3 at the end of the 63rd over. Dinesh Chandamal on 79 of 151 deliveries, and Niroshan Dequela 37 of 60. And they are really piling on the agony after that excellent second session. Sri Lanka in this session faced 11 overs for 56 runs at a run rate of 5.09 and the over rate for South Africa 13.4. So that's always an issue for us for South Africa. The heavy seam-based attack, long run-ups, not a lot of opportunities to catch up time once you fall behind. Vian Mulder continues now to Dinesh Chandamal, who chips this off his leg stump down to the third fine leg boundary for another 4. This is probably Vian Mulder is losing, and that's the one positive from my match so far was his consistency. He's also getting it.
Yeah, look, I think, I don't think he would have expected to bowl this many overs on the first day, and as the day goes, you do tend to tire. Your consistency tends to wane. And now it's time for the batsmen to do what they do best, and that's cash in. And Sri Lanka are doing that incredibly well right now.
Yeah, another cut shot by Dinesh Chandimal. He's exploiting the point area there. This time he found the fielder, 273 for 3. And let's look at Vian Mulder's figures. He's bowling his 13th over. He's conceded 38 runs now, 3 maidens. So still looking good if you just look at the figures, but the last few overs he's also been playing his line, and he's coming in again over the wicket to the left-handed Guerilla outside off stump, just defended this up point. Still, because there wasn't an opportunity for one. Quinton de Kock's got a smile on his face, trying to stay positive. Probably, he's not a guy that kicks down himself at all. Quinton is usually quite upbeat. So, Vian Mulder, what's his plan here? He's got a few fielders on the onside. He's got mid-on, mid-wicket. So he can. Oh, that one is short and scooped by Guerilla over the head of Quinton de Kock for 4 behind the keeper. Great improvised shot there. Nice exploitation of the short ball. 277 now for 3. 2 balls to go in the over. And the over so far is not looking good for South Africa at all. It's already 10
got a
runs
bottom edge onto that one, and it looks as though Guerilla is putting is just always one step ahead of the South African bowlers, which is really disappointing.
Yep, no, Sri Lanka are frustrating South Africa, doing a great job of that. And Vian Mulder outside off stump to Guerilla, who plays this out to point for the run. So Vian Mulder coming over the wicket to the left-hander, and Guerilla is not afraid to do some fancy stuff against the short ball. That got him a 4 there, and just running out of ideas on the South African bowlers.
This partnership worth 92 right now. Sri Lanka really digging South Africa into the ground right now on this first day of this Boxing Day test.
And Vian Mulder now on off stump, defended by Guerilla out to mid-wicket, and there's no run. Yes, they are certainly rubbing our noses in it, the Sri Lankans, and to the delight of the Sri Lankan fans, I would imagine. So not great if you're South African fan, and really amazing intent and just hard-headedness, or what shall I say, just stick-to-itiveness by the Sri Lanka. Just making South Africa look very, very ordinary.
Yeah, they just... No, we are, but you'd expect that. But that's the other thing. The experience in this bowling attack is one that could give you a performance like this on a day like this. The question is, and the other thing is, do they have the character to bounce back? You know, if they'd had a few more tests under their belt, I think you could say yes, they would. You know, losing Bjorn Hendricks as well. Due to COVID is something that hurt this team, but he too had only played 1 test. So the wealth of talent in South African fast bowling is there. It's just that it's come on at the wrong at essentially the wrong time. We're about to have a commentary change. We'll probably do that at the end of the thing, but let's just add AB in. He's wearing his zebra shirt there. He can tell us what's going on with his team.
Here playing now. He's around the wicket to Dinesh Chandimal, bouncer over leg stump, and they don't give a wide. So 277 for 3. How's that?
How's it, Otto? Hi, Paul.
Hey, AB. Looking very bad.
Tough day for being a Protea bowler, seems like it.
How's your team doing?
So United and Leicester are currently 1-1 with 20 minutes to go. Marcus Rashford scored early on, and Harvey Barnes scored a scorcher to equalise. Rashford should have had a hat-trick by now, but it is what it is, man. Life and time.
Around the wicket again to Chandimal, who defends off his ribs down to cover and take a signal. Chandimal moves on to 85 or 155, and Niroshan Bikmara 41 of 64. So interesting line by Nokia to Chal, bowling around the wicket to the right-hander. So that's a bit negative and defensive. Not great to see, like you said, to be a South African fan as well.
Well, I mean, if he's going to target the body, by all means. I mean, I feel like there's not enough of that in Test cricket. There's no silly in there.
That might be well. It's good to try something else, because what they've been doing up to now isn't been working. Knocking around the wicket to Dikwela, defends this to man at short leg. Well, just in front of square there at the wicket, maybe. No one. 278 for 3, 64.3 overs gone. And Nokia has also crossed the 50 mark as a bowler. He's bowled 13.3 overs now, 2 maidens, 51 runs and wicket. Nokia goes around the wicket to Dikwela, defends this off his body to wideish run deep mid-wicket area, and they take a single. Should be, yes. Chandimal will face the last 2 balls, or the next ball at least. 279 for 3.
Yes, Bavuma is the man under the helmet for the right-hander. It's a body line type of line that they're trying to get the batsman either caught by the leg slip or that short leg, just changing the angle of delivery to the right-hander.
Yeah, and let's see if it works. Nokia goes around the wicket again to Chandimal. Oh, nice bouncer there, but over the outstretched hand, bouncing off the outstretched hand of Quinton de Kock, and it goes back over his head for a 4.
5 wides. 5 wides there from Nokia.
Okay, so that's.
Oh no, it's 4 buys. It's 4 buys. It's not 5. The umpire said
4
that
buys.
It took off after it passed Dinesh Chandimal.
Yeah, let's just see here on the side on angle. It's actually a good bouncer, but maybe just a little bit too short.
Yeah.
Usually ducked underneath by Chandimal. No.
Oh no, it's 5.
Unless the periscope bat gets the edge. Okay, again, short, and Chandimal just ducks underneath it, and there's no run.
A dangerous duck with his bat up in the air, but I think he was quite comfortable. The fact that it was just passing over his left shoulder.
Okay, that's the end of that. Anuf Nokia over Otto. We just want to say thank you very much and goodbye for the rest of the day. As Simon will be coming in, so we'll be with you tomorrow, Osmaster, from Silverton.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much, guys. It was great fun. Very nice to be back on the air with you guys, and the rest of the day I'll be listening.
Yeah, enjoy the feast behind you, my man. Cheers. Cheers. And let's bring in Simon into this stream. Simon, we all seem to be going live. So if you can sort your life out, we've got AB here.
Davey, lovely to see you again, mate.
You too, man. Last time I saw you, you were wearing that shirt, probably.
Yeah, probably, yes, yeah. I was just pointing out to Dave while we were on air that I've got 8 of them. So, I don't really need to wear anything else other than my LSM shirt.
All of them extra large and 1 small.
Exactly, yeah.
So Vian Mulder resuming his 14th over. First ball played out to the offside. A quick single was taken by Dikwela, and the total goes to 284 for 3.
And Paul, how are you feeling from an energy point of view? Are you happy to carry on doing ball by ball, or would you like one of us to take over?
Simon, you can do ball by ball. I just need to take a little bit of a break. I might
I'm
even
sure
take
you do,
myself
yes.
off the stream.
Sure,
Just
no
need to get water.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so in fact, I realized I've sat down without my water bottle, which was poor planning on my part. It is Vian Mulder who's bowling from the main grandstand end. What are the ends at Centurion? There's Henops River, which is the far
It's
one.
Henops River, and I thought it was the Gautrain end. Yeah.
No. Gautrain and Henops River are the same end, aren't they, surely?
I have no... Simon, you're the geography teacher.
Yeah, but I'm struggling with a lack of information, not a
pavilion end. It's the pavilion end.
That's the pavilion end. There you go. Okay. So he is bowling from the pavilion end, right arm over the wickets, and this one is just driven with no real venom out to Temba Bavuma, who makes the fielding in the covers, and no run. Chandamal is there on 85 off 160 balls. De Quella 43 of 67. It's been all Sri Lanka since lunch. And the only real blip in their record is that rather sad injury to De Silva.
Well, I mean, since the first hour, they've done so well. They were playing ODI cricket, and then they decided, oh wait, we're actually wearing white. Let's play Test cricket.
Yeah, it took them a little while to remember the red ball. This one, it spits up at him from a length. It, I think, grabbed the shoulder of the bat, looped through to Faf du Plessis at first slip. That is the end of Chandamal for 85. A really, really good ball, this by Vian Mulder. Came from absolutely nowhere. And let's see where it pitched. It was, just pitched on a length, but it shot up at Chandamal and hit the spice of his bat. And not really too much he could have done about that, to be honest, maybe.
Oof, I mean, if you just look at it, and it also cuts in, so I think he was expecting to leave that. And then just a pure bad luck right there.
I think the South Africans won't be happy about that. They won't be happy to see a wicket like that.
No.
I mean, if Vian Mulder could figure out how to bowl that deliberately, he would bowl nothing else.
Because even in the air, it swung a little bit out and then just seemed back in. It was very, very strange. But Vian Mulder is doing a job here with the ball. He's been the pick of the South African bowlers. And we probably didn't even expect him to start this Test match, and here South Africa are relying on this young little kid. 22 is not young. I don't know, 22 is young.
So Dinesh Chandimal is out for 85. Court du Plessis bowled Vian Mulder. Sri Lanka currently 284 for 4. You could say 284 for 5 because of the retirement of Dhananjaya De Silva with that hamstring injury.
The new batsman is Dasun Shanaka, who is playing only his fourth or fifth Test match. I'm not sure whether these stats include his this current.
It's his fourth Test match. It's the current one.
Test match. Yeah, so an average of just 5.8, which is hell of a low for someone who's walking in the sort of lower middle order of a
yes, but in first class cricket, he averages 40.83, scored 3,226 runs with a high score of 130. And has played 88 innings.
There you go. In Test matches, a high of just 17. So, but there's plenty of upside for this guy's career still, clearly.
Yeah. And interesting, his best was against India 3 years ago. So, how certain is this man to be in the Sri Lankan team much longer? We don't know. It seems like he was just put in here, and I don't know. He's got a big job here to do. Maybe get another 50 to 100 runs with his partners, and they're set. I don't know. What is have we chatted about what a good Test score is on this wicket? It's not going to be 36, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, if you had offered them 284 for 4 this morning, they would have taken that with both hands. Both sides would have taken that.
So I think 350 is going to be a good one, a challenging one for South Africa, because our batsmen also there's this cloud hanging over them in Test cricket. So, 300 is already a tough one, but I think 350 is going to be tough. And I think 400 you're moving to match-winning territory.
Another really good ball by Vian Mulder, and this one seaming away from the new batsman, and there's no ways he could have got a bat on that even if he wanted to. So Vian Mulder really, really on fire suddenly this over.
The Proteas do have an extended batting lineup now with Mulder, Keshav Maharaj, and then of course Anrich Nortje, who's capable of scoring at least 200 by himself.
I'd forgotten about Nortje's epic batting ability.
It's been that long. It has been that long.
So De Quilla is still there on 43. Shanaka just joined him without scoring yet. After the 66th over, Sri Lanka 284 for 4, practically 284 for 5. I don't think we're going to see De Silva play any more parts in the series, to be honest. It looks like he tore a hip flexor while he's running. The next over now starting from Anrich Nortje. A ball that just died off the pitch as it came back into the left-handed De Quilla and cut him in half somewhat, but without any real venom. It was a curious ball there. Still at 88 miles per hour through the air, but looked very, very slow off the pitch.
Yes, the South African bats opening pair is just going to be very worried right now because there's this uneven bounce that's creeping in to this. That just nearly hit off stump.
That was, yeah. I mean, this feels like I had a bit of a snooze after my last commentary stint. It feels like I've woken up to a completely different pitch. It bears no resemblance to what I watched earlier on this afternoon.
The hours while you were sleeping had nothing. It was just Sri Lanka making hay while the sun shined.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed to have a look at the score again and realize that South Africa hadn't made inroads. But already, we've watched 2 overs and the ball has been doing all sorts of things suddenly. Clearly,
this is like a day 4 pitch. It's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. Nortje in rounds the wickets to the left-handed De Quilla. He bangs it in a bit and tries to follow him. And De Quilla just bending over backwards to allow it to go through to the keeper. A little bit of words between the bowler and the batsman, but not of any real venom, I don't think. He very, very nearly left his bat hanging out there like a periscope, which could have been probably the most embarrassing way to get out, actually.
Yeah. Interesting enough.
Are you going to read about the average score?
No, I was going to talk about Anrich this week in an interview, saying that he was going to use the short ball on batsmen he thought were uncomfortable to the short ball, and then those who were comfortable to the short ball, he wouldn't use it as much. It was a much of a muchness for me. It was just like, oh, okay, this guy's
he's just used it again to De Quilla. So clearly De Quilla's made that one column very, very clearly. And I think Anrich did actually point out to De Quilla that there was a reason why he was getting the short ball. But the keeper has done okay here. He's swayed away from these balls and not really looked in too much danger. Yet another bouncer and flying through to the cock. So Nortje has clearly decided that this is the plan. And only that now called the one bouncer for the over, which is surprising.
Wow. So my issue here is if you're going to target the batsman with these short balls and, aim for his head, try and kill him, come around the wickets, or over the wickets because it's a left-handed, so I'm confused now, and just target his body, because, as well. That's
he's coming around the wicket and sort of angling it right into the left-hander.
Yeah,
but I agree with
you. Go the other way. If you're going to do it, just do it properly.
A bit more full now and sort of punch-driven into the covers where Dean Elgar does the fielding. Elgar not in the slipcordon at the moment. And that is the end of that over. I think that was a maiden. So 284 for 4. Second ball available.
We have a treat.
13 over time. Oh, good.
Yes. Those dried up as well, but they've seemed to come back with you and AB coming online and the wickets falling. Leah saying, just coming back over from a parade of disgusting porn stashes, and first thing I hear is rubbing salt into my 36 all-out wound. So here's to a Sri Lanka first inning score around 500 for 7 declared.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to have one of those 3-day test matches here. That's for sure.
You never know. It depends on how South Africa bat.
That's also true, yeah.
Ooh.
Good drive through the offside for the first ball of Björn Mulder's over. This is going to run away down to the mid-off boundary. Heinrich Nortje is not going to catch it. Adrian Holstock signals 4, and Sri Lanka go on to 288 for 4. That is Shanaka's opening score. He's now on 4 of 3 balls faced.
What a way to give a debutant his introduction into international cricket with a wide half volley that he can just pick up. And
he's not quite a debutant, though. You know, test matches that occurred before 2018 do actually count, although admittedly we weren't on air at the time. Fuller straight one, swinging slightly in and defended back to the bowler, no run.
Simon, I was thinking any test match before 2020 is null and void. We're starting all over again.
Oh no! As a coach's fan, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, no, I think we need some of the glamour of the early thousands to at least keep it interested.
Yeah. So I think Björn Mulder's last over gave us a consistent set of balls. And that's what South Africa's just missed throughout today.
Yeah, he's slightly full of this over, and it's enabling Shanaka to just throw the ball at it a little bit. This time, Maharaj is able to come around and collect, and they go through for 2.
Yeah, I think tonight these guys at the Irene Country Club are going to probably be sitting watching this innings again as punishment. I think they should.
Is that where everyone's staying at the moment? Is that where the buyer bubble is?
Yes. And then for Johannesburg, they'll still stay there. So Irene Country Club is.
They have to come in on the N1 each day. That's ridiculous.
But they come with a police escort. It's
yeah.
It's not like us mortals.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those.
There's no traffic. Joburg is empty at the moment.
Yeah, that's also true. It's a good. If you're going to be driving back and forth between Pretoria, now's the right time to do it. They should requisition a Gautrain coach and keep it all sort of sprayed down and whatever, and send them back and forth on the train. That'd be festive.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I doubt they will though. Again, just defended back to Mulder, who does the fielding off his own bowling. Does that thing which I always think if you tried at club level, they would laugh at you, of then throwing the ball to his mid-off to do all the shining and so on, so that you don't have the burden of carrying the ball all the way back to your.
But you need someone who sweats a lot because you can't use saliva. So that mid-on position is very important.
Okay, fair enough. And Heinrich Nortje there, they obviously think he's the sweaty chap. Drifting in and worked into the onside. Dean Elgar does the fielding. Whereas Björn Mulder admittedly looks like that sort of lantern-jawed chap who doesn't sweat at all. He just glows quietly.
What?
That is drinks coach. Ryan Jelle brings the drinks on as the 4th umpire. This is the one side effect of COVID, is it's giving a lot of junior umpires, well, junior in the international sense, test match experience, which I'm sure Adrian Holstock and Brian Jelle will be very, very happy indeed with. I wonder whether Jelle will get a chance to be the standing umpire at the next test.
I think it might be Aludin Palaka.
He's the guy who's 3rd umpire today, hey?
Yes, with Maria Erasmus. I think.
Yes, I saw him earlier.
I think it'll be safer that way with the ICC. To still have a one panel umpire and then just rotate the other 2.
Yeah. No, I think.
And maybe for Australia, you might see Bongani Jelle come in. I think Australia. I think it's 3 matches.
Do we play test against them, or are we playing?
It's ODI. I think it's ODIs. I think it might be white.
Oh yeah. So he'll definitely umpire the ODIs. He's umpired quite a lot of international white ball cricket, I think. But this opportunity to stand in a test. I mean, Adrian Holstock must be beside himself with joy. You know, he was still a very, very long way from ever getting a test place, if he was ever going to get one. So this has been a massive success for him.
And it's also a very nice audition for them, because obviously they'll still be graded and then possibly might even get a young Afghanistan versus Ireland sometime soon, or Afghanistan against Australia. Because I think that's the one thing. The IC panel, I do think, needs to grow and open up a little bit, especially because of the dominance that England have and Australia have in terms of the umpires, that they just keep on
I totally agree with you. There's this balance they need between giving the umpires on that panel enough work that they're able to keep their eye on, but also spreading it far enough, wide enough.
The other umpire I was asking about is Sean George. Where is he?
So we saw him down at I was going to say that women's thing, but no, it was the internal England squad games that we did in Cape Town. He was one of the umpires for that, and I assume did he do any of the ODIs for the England tour or the T20s?
I think he may have.
Yeah,
probably one. Well, not the ODIs because we didn't get any ODIs. We got T20s.
Oh, we just
yeah. But that was the other question. Obviously, you got Adrian Holzer, you got Sean George. It's just obviously rewarding Adrian for being umpire of the year. This test.
Yeah, I mean it's very, very well deserved. He's very popular within the umpiring fraternity by all accounts. I've never met the man, but certainly I've only heard nice things about him, and it seems very, very richly deserved. We're on drinks, by the way, which is why we're just burbling on.
And then Otto tweeted that was lots of fun. Tomorrow might be better for Protea Fire fans. Sri Lanka firmly in control. We need wickets now.
And then I was able to provide him with one almost straight away.
Yeah, yes, you were.
Yeah, I noticed a very interesting thing after that wicket went down. So the Proteas were all gathered around. You know how they do, and they sort of talk. Are we back live now? We are indeed.
Yes, we are.
This is Heinrich Nokia to continue for the final session of the day, and that is let through to the keeper and no run. So they were gathered around, and Faf du Plessis was the man doing all of the talking to the team, not Quinton de Kock. And I thought that was really, really interesting, that he's still clearly playing a huge leadership role within the team.
Yeah. Well, much like when Tim Payne was captain and Steve Smith wasn't captain. After the whole sandpaper thing.
Yeah, that does seem to have resolved itself somewhat. I'm just going to go and get my water. Can one of you guys just do ball?
Okay, sure. That's fine. We got a tweet here from Josie Oak after this ball from Heinrich Nokia, 290 for 4. Sri Lanka are. Nokia a right arm over to De Quello, plays it back to him for no run. So Josie Oak says, afternoon, turned back from the swearing mother broadcaster. Where are the teams staying again? I can see the Hyde Park Southern Sun from my bedroom window, which was shut during the lockdown because I'm sure football teams were using it as their bubble. Josie Oak, they're using the Irene Country Club in Pretoria. We're getting a lot of tweets coming in, but Simon, you seem to be back. Chris TB says, does Simon know someone called Brian Jele? Because is that why he called Bongani Brian?
Is it Bongani Jele? My apologies.
Yes,
why did I call him Brian? Where would I have got Brian from? That's really odd.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is indeed an idea. Next ball is just defended and no run while I sit and think quietly about what I've done.
So did the players bring their golf clubs to Irene?
No, they're not allowed to go on the golf course, but they have a virtual golf simulation in one of the rooms, which I think should be changed today to just sit and have them watch the worst balls that they've bowled today.
So basically, the entire
simulation. What's that? Basically a Wii.
Yeah, it's a golf game. It's not a Wii. You use golf clubs, I'm assuming.
Okay.
AB, you should know this since you're a golfer now.
I mean, because like there's that simulator where you can like strike a tee and you hit like a net that's like maybe 10 meters in front of you, and it shows you where the ball has projected to go. Similar to Hawkeye. So maybe they managed to get something from Hawkeye. No,
that's what was up. You could see in one of the Instagram stories they had that little simulation thing going.
I'm glad they're focusing on cricket.
Yeah. Nokia right arm over the wickets to the left-handed De Quello. He's digging all of these in. And there is the tiny form of Temba Bavuma under the lid. He's shining the ball enthusiastically. But no run. Sri Lanka still 290 for 4. Nokia certainly, I think, has had a bit of a new lease on life. in his bowling to Guerilla since that wicket went down. Really bending his back and trying to get it up into the Sri Lankan wicketkeeper's ribs. Not really without much success at the moment. Guerilla's handled things very, very well. Okay, and again at right arm over. Another bouncer. This one is swung away. Rassie van der Dussen is down at fine leg. It gets to him on the bounce. For a moment there, I thought Rassie was in action. And Nokia just laughing, sharing a laugh with Guerilla, which I think is good fun. And he's looking hot and bothered, to be honest. Gets his hat back. That's the end of the over. 291 for 4.
When Anrik Nokia comes to the crease, maybe in South Africa's 25th over, and Nokia has to do a long dig in at batting, Guerilla is going to have a huge amount to say. So it's good that they're on talking terms now.
Yes, and they live in the same hotel, so they could find each other and talk and have words there.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't want to approach Anrik Nokia in another hotel room.
Nirishan de Guerilla now on 44 of 79 balls. It's been a good innings, coming in at a time when Sri Lanka would have been a bit rattled with the knowledge that they had lost De Silva for the rest of the series because of that pulled hip flexor. Change of bowling. It is going to be Keshav Maharaj. He's bowled without success this morning. 13 overs, 2 maidens for 54 runs, which is excessively expensive for him. He's coming in left arm over the wicket to the left-hander. Immediately the sweep comes out. Temba Bavuma is at that short, fine leg sort of a position, not quite short. He's on the circle, or where the circle would be, and no run.
We've got 2 tweets from our favorite, from our number one fan.
Okay, it worked into the onside, collected easily by mid-wicket, no run.
Josie Oak says, good to see Simon Gear to emerge from that big hole in Kimberley.
I'm actually on my way back there tomorrow, unfortunately. Again, just looped through, spinning into the left-hander and defended into the onside, no run.
What are you doing there?
So when I'm in my grown-up's life, I'm an air quality consultant. And one of my clients is required by law to measure the dust on their site. This is worked into the offside, and Van der Dussen makes a sliding stop. They'll get through for a single, 292 for 4. So I've got sites all around the country that have to have their dust buckets changed once a month. And it's being the end of the month now. This is when I do it. So I have to drive down to Victoria West to check a weather station and change the dust buckets there. And that results in a night at Kimberley once a month.
Oh, okay. So you'll be back when?
So it's usually a sort of 2.5 day mission to do these 3 sites, which are in Vereniging, Victoria West, and then in Stilfontein, which is near Klerksdorp. And then I go straight away out to the other side of the country and do another 2 sites out Leidenburg way.
Okay.
Keshav so to the right-hander, no run there for the rest of the over. After 70 overs, Sri Lanka 292 for 4.
Yeah, and then so the Josie Oak replies saying, I think you're doomed.
I've missed him. Indeed. He lives up in Joburg now, I think, doesn't he?
He does. So we should send him
we can still call him Durban Oak, surely.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We should invite him as well to come on.
Yeah, of course. These days, now that we're doing it virtually, it's very, very easy. So, Way, if you would like to be a part of our WhatsApp group, as it were, both virtually and literally, drop us a line and we'll add you to the group. It'll be good fun to have you.
Yeah, just tweet us your number and just like.
Yeah, we won't show it to anybody else.
Yeah, we won't retweet at all.
It is going
what's
to
the
be.
worst that could happen?
It is going to be Nirishan de Guerilla to continue his battle with Heinrich Nokia, who's coming over the wickets and targeting his body, as AB de Villiers was asking for. Oh no, it's Veer Mulder who's actually there's Veer Mulder who's been.
Did you just say AB de Villiers?
I said AB de Villiers, didn't I? Yes. With Brian Jelle.
I'm still deciding if I need to play T20s. Don't worry.
Not that AV, in fact. Hashtag. So it is Veer Mulder who is taking over from Heinrich Nokia here. but bowling exactly the same line, but without quite the same venom that Nortje was able to achieve bowling at De Quilla earlier. So Mulder in once again, right arm over, fuller ball played out into the offside. He does make it through the gap. This is going to run away for 4, and that is going to take De Quilla along to just 1 short of his half century. 49 runs now of 85 balls.
Yes, 296 for 4, 70 overs in. It's just a problem for South Africa right now.
Yeah. This is not looking great for South Africa. And another 120 runs here, and that puts Sri Lanka in a position that they can't really lose from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's going to be that's going to take us to day 5, which is going to be
Which is good. Which is very important.
Guys, there's so much sport on that I'm like working off of like 4 hours of sleep.
No, this is your golden time. There's a bit of a shot for LBW here, and it has been given. I'm surprised by that. Straight away they go up, and
didn't that pitch outside leg?
I thought this pitched outside leg, to be honest. This didn't look out to me at all when I first saw it by naked eye. I was kind of surprised.
Simon, is there a thing where umpires have stood in the middle, been beaten down by the sun, and just like the bowlers, they can have a moment of
definitely
of a little bit of craziness?
Yeah, this actually looks quite good now that I see the slow motion. I think who's a Marius Herter on the side, huh?
Marius, yeah.
Yeah. So it does look like it did actually pitch inside that leg stump and came back at De Quilla somewhat, hit him just below the knee roll or on the knee roll. I think this is actually probably pitched on leg and hitting a leg in middle. I think it was a very, very good decision. Let's have a look.
Hawkeye, pitching in line by inches.
In line, boom, hitting top of middle. Very, very good decision by the umpire. And that is the end of Nirishan De Quilla. He scored 49 of 85 balls, and that leaves Sri Lanka now at 296 for 5. He's going to be upset with himself. He really did the hard work and deserved a 50 here today, I think. But Veon Mulder, sheesh, what an afternoon he's having. 3 for 54, definitely the pick of the bowlers of his 15 overs.
And the thing about it was, in the hour before, we were talking about how South Africa, 20% of South Africa's balls were hitting the stumps. So balled about like 280 and only 25 were hitting the stumps. Everything was being sprayed away all around the wicket. Now, the first ball that actually bowled on, middle and leg, grabs the wicket. So it's very disappointing that they've only figured that out now, 70 overs in, rather than necessarily early on in the day. So
it's also amazing what happens when you take Vernon Philander and KG Rabada out of this seam attack. It's crazy the amount of balls that they bowl towards the stumps, and you can see it now.
So we get a debutant in, Wanindu Hasaringa De Silva. He has a first name of Pina Duwage, but I think they call him Wanindu. And we can see that he averages 42 in first-class cricket. So he's the all-rounder as well in the side.
So both of these guys batting now average low 40s in first-class cricket, play similar sort of roles in the team.
And he's the spinner in the side. He bowls a leg break.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So, he's probably not ecstatic to be bowling a Centurion in his first ever Test match, which is not known for turning square. But Keshav has managed to get a little bit of movement today, so it'll be interesting to see how he comes. Always keen to see it.
Okay, after this ball, we've got a very lovely tweet from Leah.
Mulder, right arm over. It's outside the off stump. He has a bit of a flash at it, misses it, and goes through to the keeper. He survives his first ball in Test match cricket. Hasaranga does. And Sri Lanka 296 for 5.
So Leah says, I can't wait for SA's innings and Nirishan being a bit of a, Dick Weller behind the stumps.
I don't think he will. I mean, I think he's assuming that the spirit that appears to have engendered between him and Heinrich Nortje continues. I think the game is being played in quite nice spirit. Again, outside the off stump, left alone, no run. I think everyone is just so incredibly grateful to be playing cricket. They can't muster any real angst against each other.
And then Chris says, geez, air quality as well. Simon may wear more hats than anyone I know.
Yeah, it sometimes feels a little bit like that, Chris. But it's pretty much the only way I can make a crust these days. If anyone would like to pay us for doing radio, I'd be thrilled to bits. Right, so Björn Mulder in again for the last ball of his over, and he plays this quite a bit closer to the off stump, and it draws the shot from Hasaranga. He gets the outside edge. There's no third slip in place, Faf du Plessis. What were you thinking? And it flies and away.
That's not the captain.
Yeah, but I bet you he makes the decision. Look, I mean, to be able to put a third slip in, you have to be able to count to 3. And I honestly think that what's happened is Quinton de Kock has had a look to his right and said, I've got lots of slips, and that's probably enough, without really paying too close attention.
Okay, let's go to tweets. We've got a lot of
tweets. That does bring up the 300, by the way. 300 for 5 off 71 overs.
Yes, Sri Lanka putting South Africa in a bit of a hurt locker, and Josie Oak putting me in a hurt locker. Is it? He says, is it now time to mention cough football with Mpho Moreki on? How many will Chelsea put past Arsenal? I don't know. I hope it's not
numbers that Quinton de Kock can't count up to. I think there's an excellent example. Lots, probably. Keshav Maharaj is to continue bowling in his 15th over now. He's bowling to Shanaka. Just to be very, very clear, I think Quinton de Kock is an absolute genius at what he does. Defended off the front foot and no runs. Sri Lanka 300.
So not like you when you were a weatherman for South Africa.
Sure, that could go both ways. Yes. No, it's actually, I had someone interviewed me the other day for the summer solstice of all things, and she introduced me as someone who lies for a living, and I took a bit of offense at that. You know, there's a world of difference between being wrong and being deceitful, and I was regularly wrong, but I didn't ever try deliberately to pull the wool over people's eyes. Again, defended off the front foot. Shanaka much more watchful against Keshav Maharaj. I'm just making names up now. Was. And so Sri Lanka is still on 300 for 5.
The amount of unnecessary jackets carried because of Simon Gear, I can only imagine.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was that's all I really do is make. I'm a buoyant force in the umbrella market. Final ball of the over, and again just defended off the front foot and no run. That is the end of that over. Sri Lanka 300 for 5 after the 72nd over. Maharaj 0 for 55 off 15.
Yeah, so the fun part about doing cricket and COVID is that the umpires don't get to hold the players' caps anymore. So we always try and look for the player with the 2 hats on the head. And this last over was Faf. He had his normal baggy green, and then he had the wide brim hat of, I think it was Keshav, on top there. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that I must tell you is the one COVID-related change that the umpires are actually pushing to make permanent. It's always considered a slight hassle by the umpires to have to find a place for hats. I have a little clip on my belt that I put the hat onto, which I think works really well, and I think actually makes me look quite debonair. But the guys who carry them in their hands don't like it at all. So you might find that becoming a permanent thing. Beginning of the next over, Björn Mulder is going to continue bowling. He sprays this one down leg side, goes through to Quinton de Kock, doesn't bother anyone. You asked a little bit earlier about umpires losing concentration late in the day, Mpho. It absolutely is a thing. I know from personal experience, when I've had a really, really hot day in the field, I go through a stage, the second last hour, where I can feel myself drifting. The last hour, the game is beginning to get interesting again, and you get back into it. But definitely, it's something that umpires have to consciously think about. This is driven with the full face of the bat. Oh, there's no one there. And it is going to run all the way through mid-off and away for 4. Hasaranga now to 8. Sri Lanka 304 for 5.
Yeah, and that's the problem about South Africa today. You'll get one good ball in and amongst a whole lot of just rubbish. And that was just rubbish. That was just wide. It was just that just wasn't a good ball.
Wasn't even hit particularly hard. It was just punched back through the gap with no massive effort, just beautifully timed. And it was like he was getting throwdowns there.
I mean, great shot though.
It was a lovely shot. The second, the ball after it though, he has a bit of a slash and a slightly wider one. Could so easily have got an edge to that. And I think Van Mulder is actually bowling very, very well here.
Yeah. I think he's bowled the best out of the South African bowlers. And it reminds me of those times when, and obviously we don't want to put the monikers on him or whatever it is, but like how many times when our frontline bowlers in the noughties when then Jacques Kallis would get the ball and he'd take lots of wickets.
A really good ball here from Mulder, getting it to kick off a length somewhat, goes past the outside edge and through to Quinton de Kock. No run. Yeah, he's definitely been reminiscent of a later Kallis, Kallis in his 30s, which I suppose is probably a veiled insult for Bjorn Mulder, who's barely 21. But he's bowled at a decent pace. He's probably bowling at about 130 k's an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he's 22, so.
Oh, well, there you go. He's practically ancient. Straighter one worked into the onside. Notkeer does the fielding down at probably a square fine leg. And they go through for a single. Sri Lanka 305 for 5.
So Harry the Hardydas says, rumor has it, Kallis is Mulder's father.
Impossible. Mulder has too much hair for that.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't look very similar. I think. I'm trying to think. I must have seen Bjorn Mulder's father at some point. Wider, and the batsman does get to the pitch of this, drives against it. He gets the outside half of the bat, where I think it was Lungi Ngidi who did the fielding at that sweeper point. They go through for a single 306 for 5. I mean, if he's Bjorn's father, then he's probably the other boy's father as well, because he's got a very talented younger brother too, who I don't think is maybe going to quite make it into the international level that Bjorn is playing. But it's a talented family full of very, very good cricketers.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know. You would know more because it's a Centurion situation there, so you probably get in the emails.
Although Jacques Kallis wore the number 3 when he played, and Bjorn's got the number 13.
Oh.
There's some.
Tune in next week when we get Mrs. Mulder in during the tea break. Keshav Maharaj to continue, defended into the offside, no run.
Yeah, that'd be very fascinating if we got Mrs. Mulder in. Some riveting cricket,
especially if she refused to answer any of our questions. Defended again, and no run. Keshav is bowling quite well to these lower order batsmen, not really troubling them, unfortunately, but they're not getting him away either. Left arm around the wickets. This time the batsman does advance down and flicks it away off his pads. That's going to run through to the mid-wicket boundary for yet another 4. Shanaka is on 11 of 20. Sri Lanka go to 310 for 5.
It's been very tough for Quinton in his first test as captain to be able to just hold that innings together and bring that run rate down using a spinner. I think he's probably been sold sold something very bad, because having Graham Smith, Mark Boucher, Faf there, they probably would have told him that your spinner's the guy to hold the game for you, and it's just not working. Where's Paul Harris actually at this point in time?
Oh, geez. Yeah, yet another consultant we're not going to see again very, very often. Defended back down the pitch, no run.
Who is our bowling spin consultant these days?
We don't have one right now.
What is Imran Tahir doing with his time?
I think they should bring him back and play him. I just feel Imran Tahir was a missed opportunity. For the life of me, cannot understand why he didn't play more red ball cricket. I know that he just didn't seem particularly good at it, but it makes no sense whatsoever intellectually why why he wasn't a world-class test match spinner.
Look, they tried him, and I think Graham Smith likes a Paul Harris more than a leg spinner he doesn't understand. Because the other thing is, obviously, you need to be able to read the way in which the ball's going to go in order for you to set a field to him. And if you look at just Shane Warne's career, the only great thing about Shane Warne's career was that he was just more accurate and took a lot more wickets, and you're willing to go for those runs, whereas Tahir only had those 2 tests, and that was it.
Yeah, it's not enough. Really, really isn't enough. And I agree with you. I think it is because if you're going to have an attacking spinner, you probably still want a holding spinner, which now suddenly means that you're going into test matches with only 2 or 3 out-and-out fast bowlers, which no South African team has ever done anywhere outside of the subcontinent, I don't think.
But it was in the period when we had Cullis as well, and obviously Cullis was slightly older then, and he would always hold up an end. It's just that pace trio of either, I think it was Vern, Steyn, and Morkel, that you knew that they were never going to be holding up an end for Tahir in test match cricket. No.
Indeed. Similar ball to the one that got the wickets from Veon Mulder, just kicking up against Hasaranga and wrapped him on the fingers of his right hand. And he's
there's a spot there.
Setting them around a bit.
There's a spot there.
Yeah.
Roundabout back of a length that just keeps on spewing up.
Yeah.
So,
What is that going to do on that spot?
Yeah. Took the glove there.
Yeah, it's jammed his fingers against the handle of the bat. He's definitely going to go in and target that spot again. He gets it not quite right, slightly wider, and Hasaranga is able to get onto his back foot and play that back foot drive out into the offsides. Lungi Ngidi is the man who comes around and makes the sliding stop. They go through for 2. Sri Lanka 312 for 5.
Quinton chewing gum, trying to think of ways to get a wicket. Interesting enough, if Mulder's bowling these overs now, he's not taking the new ball, which I think is slightly unfair for a guy who's taken the most wickets today.
Well, I mean, he must be thinking he's in with a shout for a 5-fer here. If he can maybe just get Heinrich Nokia to break this partnership, and he can come back and bowl at some of the tail, he should be able to knock over another couple. It's very, very similar sort of shots off the back foot and out into the offside. I suspect that Veon Mulder is getting a little tired now. It probably needs a bit of a break.
I mean, 18 overs almost. That's
He needs to just pick it up, take us to the new ball. I think that I'm sure that must be the instruction from his captain.
Maybe an over from Dean Elder.
Yeah, for old time's sake, why not? Quinton de Kock is looking very, very tanned. He clearly spent a lot of lockdown on the beach, I think, when we still were allowed to go to beaches. Straight to one on drive, Maharaj makes the stop. He makes it look difficult, to be honest, down on his knees and whatever. But he manages to save any runs. Sri Lanka, with 1 ball to go in the 75th over, 314 for 5.
I think the one thing that has impressed me about Veon is that his bowling has improved a lot since the last time we saw him playing for the Proteas. Because even for the Lions, I think he struggles to get a lot of bowling time because the Lions have such a strong bowling lineup, and he always bowls. Probably he's the 5th bowler in that lineup.
Yeah, but he's clearly worked at it. He is looking sore and tired, though. So I wonder whether maybe fitness might be a
I don't think he's ever bowled 18 overs in a day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably the last we're going to see of him for a while. He's looking knackered. But he's a youngster, though. He shouldn't be complaining. He's a youngster who's playing Test match cricket when everyone else is
Simon, bowl 18 overs of medium, whatever he's bowling. When normally the bowling all-rounder should only bowl about 10, and everyone else has probably bowled 13. He's gonna have a very nice long ice bath after this.
No, I'm sure.
I saw him bowl 4 overs in action cricket once. That was cool. It's terrible.
Wait, isn't action cricket a two-step run-up?
No.
Yeah.
You can. It's like 5 meters.
Yeah, there are a couple of guys who like squeeze themselves into the corner, like looking like real pullets, and then come rushing in. Was that? Were you one of those, Davey?
I mean, Simon, I can't run like 10 meters and you want me to do that? No, thank you. Please.
Maharaj in again to the right-handed Shanaka, who just leaves it well alone. They've been ridiculously circumspect around Keshav. Keshav's not really spinning it very much, but I think just holding the line and the length just right at the moment. This is slightly shorter, and he rocks back and is able to cut it away to Björn Mulder, who has to do the fielding. Goes straight to him, so I'm not quite sure why he was looking so grumpy about it.
So these two have a very big job on their hands because they need to get Sri Lanka to about 400 because you've got the bowlers after this. You've got Vishwa Fernando. Yes, Vishwa Fernando was in that stand with Kusal Pereira in Durban, and I don't think Lightning's going to strike twice. But they've got Kasan Rajita and Lahira Kumara. So South Africa will be wanting this wicket to fall before it even gets to something that's going to...
Yeah, I mean, look, if these two get Sri Lanka to 400 without losing another wicket, I mean, that saves the test match already. And then South Africa are under real pressure. He goes for the slog sweep this time. He gets it over the inner ring. It bounces twice and into the umpire's dugout. Goes away for 4. Hasaranga moves to 17 off 16, so maybe he's actually been a lot more enthusiastic than we've given him credit for. And Sri Lanka go through to, I've missed the score now, it's 316, I think, 317 for 5.
319.
Yeah, 319 for 5. Last ball of the over, he manages to just punch it out into the mid-off region. There is a man 3/4 of the way back who collects it. They jog through for a single. The shot before was really played with intent. I mean, he took a big stride down the pitch and slog swept it. And that is ominous if they're going to have a bit of a go at Keshav for the next 4 overs. I'm not sure who's going to bowl from the other end these next few, or are they going to tell Björn to suck it up? And
no, it's Dean Elgar, 100% Dean Elgar.
Dean Elgar to take 3 for nothing.
Or Aiden.
Yeah, Dean or Aiden. They can all bowl. Or Faf. Faf can bowl leg spin. That's why Imran Tahir didn't make the squad. Because Faf's a leg spinner.
Guys,
yeah, that would be an interesting move. You know, you feel bad about putting yourself onto bowl with you're the captain, but once it's Quinny doing it, oh, please, Quinny, can I bowl? It is going to be Lucas Apamla, who the first ball he manages to get a false shot outside the off stump, and it goes through to Quinton de Kock and no run.
Did you hear Faf? Did you guys see Faf's video that was going viral? From CSA's Twitter account with the whole thing of he doesn't wear shirts because they give him excess baggage.
What a load of fun that was.
When he's running a 2K time trial.
2K time trial, yeah, no, that was complete. He deserved to be teased about that. The man does have an upper body, though. My goodness. Lutus Apamla again, right arm over the wickets. He angles this one in to Hasaranga. He's first 2 balls looks like he's bowling well. Is Luta? So long may that last. But his figures are chastening somewhat. 0 for 66 of 12.2 overs.
And poor Aiden Markham there in the background of that video, just with his shirt on, and everyone's asking questions. Like, why, Aiden? Why do you have your shirt on just because of this crazy man? But yeah, he just made us feel so bad in the week leading up to Christmas lunch.
Well, I saw Rassi van der Dissen without a shirt on some social media or other. I mean, all of these guys are really, really fit and decent for the specimens. He's jumped in on. Lutus Apamla joins the elite group of people who have taken a test match wicket, and Sri Lanka are 320 for 6. Finally, a smile across Apamla's face. He actually looks more relieved than anything else.
Is it an elite group with guys like Mark Archer and Mahendra Singh Dhoni there? Just asking.
Dude, you and I are not in it.
I'm just asking, well done to Luto. He's worked hard, especially after that first spell, where he got plastered everywhere. And yeah, he would be a relieved man. Just hoping that he can, wrap the tail up so he can get some figures, so that I think the Joburg test he might get a look in. But Yeah, it's been a tough day for him. Good to see he got a wicket.
It is important, Paul. Let's give you the numbers firstly of the wicket there. It was Hasaranga, and he scored 18 before being bowled by Sapamla of 20 balls. He had 3 fours, and that fall of wicket is 320 for 6. The man still at the crease, Dasun Shanaka, he's on 12 of 26. Now, I remember, who was it? Was it Aiden who got a duck in his first ever innings? It was one of those sort of guys. And I read an interview with him where he said, the awful thing is you go back and sit in the dressing room and you think, I might be one of those guys who become a pub quiz answer, who which South African opener never scored a run in Test cricket before being dropped, And Luther Sapamla must have been standing down there at third man thinking, bloody hell, I've been carted all around the field. I haven't even looked like a sniff of a wicket. KG Rabada is going to come back next test, and that might be me. I mean, we know watching that's not going to be the case, but your mind tells you horrible things when things are going wrong, and you could see the relief. I mean, he sort of smiled and took a big sigh as the guys came in to congratulate him. He is now going to bowl to the new batsman, who I didn't actually pick up who it was.
The new batsman is Kasun
Rajita.
Okay.
Yeah, they're keeping the Wizard of Durban back for I don't know why.
He actually likes playing against the Proteas. He's got a high score against the Proteas of 12 at the stadium formerly known as Kingsmead. Well, I don't know if it's still a stadium.
You don't know if it's still a stadium, or you don't know if it's still called Kingsmead?
No. I mean, I think there's more people here at Centurion than normally at Kingsmead. So.
Oh, I see. That's probably true. Yeah, they don't like their cricket down in Durban, apparently. Oh, does he get an edge there? It jagged back. Oh, it jagged back at Rajita and caused a diving stop out of Quinton de Kock. I thought he had got an inside edge across there. There is a question of DRS, but Quinny's not going to take it.
I think that was because the slip cordon went up, screaming and appealing. But what a ball, jagging back.
And what a take by Quinny, just goalkeeper style, both hands to it. I'd have him in my FPL team any day with that sort of form.
Did you guys see what happened with Messi over the weekend? Or over the past week?
What now?
Budweiser sent. Messi, we'll do it at the end of this over.
Final ball of the over, Sapamla in, and again just short of a length and forcing the defence from Rajita. That is the end of a very, very good over by Luther Sapamla. First Test wicket, 1 for 66.
So
wicket maiden.
Yes. Well, yeah, wicket maiden. Well done, Luto. So Messi scored 644, his 644th club goal, which is now the world record because Pele's number was 643.
Okay.
So Budweiser decided to send all the goalkeepers Messi scored against in all those 644 goals, Budweiser bottles of beer, little small bottle with a number on. So you the number that Messi scored against you. So that number of the goal.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's there's a lot of pub quiz questions, and AB and I are in the same quiz. So we're gonna have to try and mine those questions.
Who was the goalkeeper who received the multiple six pack? Yeah.
I think it was Diego Lopez. I think, but I'll check. He got like 21.
Okay. Jeez, that's a lot, eh?
So my Arsenal goalkeeper Bernd Leno. So Diego Alves received 19, and Bernd Leno of Arsenal got 7. 7 bottles, and you're like, wow, dude, like, where did you play Messi?
Yes, that's unfortunate when you don't even play in the same league as the guys. You get more than a 6-pack of beer. That's a shocker. Keshav, by the way, is bowling at Kaisunu Rajita, and I suppose it's Rajita with we're pronouncing it in the South African way, but it's probably Rajita. He's spinning it away from the right-hander, getting a bit of movement off the deck as well, actually, and causing a few problems to this lower batsman. This time he does get forward, though, smothers the ball off to a rather tired and grumpy-looking Faf at short cover.
Let's give him a ball. Make him ball.
He's sulking because he didn't get a chance.
No, he's just unhappy because he's wearing a shirt.
Yeah,
All that extra baggage.
All that extra baggage. Oh my goodness! Sometimes the baggage is in one's head. And a straighter ball this time, just turned around the corner. Rassi van der Dussen, another man who looks good without a shirt, does the fielding at mid wicket, and so they go through.
We need to stop this.
So in total, Messi had scored against 160 goalkeepers.
Wow! So that's an average of a six-pack a goalkeeper almost. Anyway,
yeah.
Regardless, yeah. Worked into the onside, no run. That's the end of the over. Sri Lanka 322 for 6. 2 overs to go for the new ball. So the fact that Lutus Apamla is bowling now implies that the new ball will go to Heinrich
and Nokia.
Yeah. But if he takes another wicket now, I think they won't be able to get the ball back out of his hand, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think they should. I think the thing we need to also consider is that Lutus Apamla has only played one 4-day match before actually playing for the Proteas. He's been injured for 9
life, or one.
No. Now this season.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know, he was undercooked in the T20s because that was his first game of cricket in 9 months, and then he went to go play for the Lions in that 4-day match in Bloemfontein, which was, I think the Lions ended up losing. And getting carted around for like 500 in that first innings, with Reynard van Tondo scoring a double century, and then now he's here. So he's trying to get into that in season rhythm. But they said he bowled well in the nets. I just don't know which group he was bowling to because they were doing the whole staggered situation.
Okay.
So
well, I mean, to be fair, he's looked better every time he's come out to bowl. And another real peach of a delivery that goes past the off stump and the outside edge. I mean, it missed everything. But these 8 balls that he's bowled in this in this session in this spell are among the best 8 that have been bowled all day. So
I said give him the new ball. Why not? He's also a little bit warmer now than the other guys. So.
His tail's up. His entire body language is looking better than it was earlier. So I'm pleased for him. I think we're going to see him add another 2 or 3 wickets to his tally here.
Yeah, you just don't want your international career to just end on 1.
No, exactly. Better than ending on 0, though. This is a bit straighter and tucked around the corner. They'll jog through for an agreed single. Rajitha goes to 2. And Shanaka is going to be facing on 13. Sri Lanka 323 for 6.
We've got a tweet from Leah. The only good things about Warnie's career were that delivery to Gatting and the absolute crap he used to make up about supposed mystery balls he was working on to get into the opposition's head.
I mean, I'm sorry that I wasted so much of my cricket fandom life hating Warne. Because I mean, we just did. We absolutely detested him, and we dreaded every moment that South Africa were playing against Australia. But he was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. And we have a nice tweet from Nakul Pandey. He says, "Guerilla SA, yes, Luto. Oh, and Jacinda Casfias, Ukisimusi Omuhle, and Chris Messi Emnandi to all. Cheers."
Hey,
and he's sent us a picture of a glass of champagne. With some cheese, with like a cheese plate, very easy.
He got engaged during lockdown to his lovely lady. I remember seeing pictures on one of the social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Simon, you're like ancient, so it's definitely Facebook.
It probably yes. I think it probably was because I was vaguely.
Can you name another social media? Not Twitter.
Well, apparently I've
Simon's
got
an Instagram.
Yeah.
No, it's not apparently. You opened an Instagram account.
I did. Yeah. I don't think I've ever posted. I think I posted a picture of myself with a beard, and that was about it.
Yes, in a 1WSR t-shirt.
Yeah. I mean, I did. I had a look at Instagram, and there's 2 quite cool pictures of my daughter juggling, or like videos of my daughter juggling, and about 4 billion pictures that I'm not really interested in. So until she posts another picture of another video of her juggling, I've got no reason to go back to Instagram.
So on your Instagram, Simon, there's a picture of you with the beard, not smiling, and then there's 4 of Laura Wolfhard. So I don't know why.
Because I think she's the only other person I know on Instagram. I must tell you, can I tell you what a brilliant father I was this year for Christmas? That was the end of Lutus Apamda's second over of the spell, by the way. 324 for 6. He really looked like he was bending his back there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they've told him he's not getting the new ball and he must just come out and bowl as hard as he can. So one over to go for the to the new ball. So Amy is a massive Laura Wolfhard fan, and I remember as a kid I had all sorts of posters of my heroes sort of up on the walls. You can't get those any longer. Like cricket posters are just no longer a thing. Keshav is to bowl the last over before the new ball, and defended into the offside, no run. So what I did is I organized I actually bought some pictures of Laura from one of the online platforms. As Keshav comes in again, loops his hand here. It's swung away over mid wicket. Is that going to go all the way? It does indeed. It actually hits Bongani Jele's chair, which has been vacated just in time by Mr. Jele. And he signals 6, as do the umpires, 330 for 6. So I made the poster. Then I got hold of Kirsty Thompson, who was going down to the WSL, and she took it down and had a very good WSL, batted with Laura on 2 occasions for 50-plus partnerships. And she got Laura to sign it to Amy, sort of Amy Grace, dear Amy, always follow your dreams, regards Laura Wolfhard, number 14, whatever, those sort of things. And Amy burst into tears when she opened it on Christmas morning. I was so chuffed.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, Simon won Christmas. So
I was so proud. I was so proud. Sri Lanka 330 for 6 with that 6. South Africa certainly not winning cricket at the moment. Defended into not really defended, sort of played through the gap in the offside. They're going to jog through for a single. Maharaj 0 for 74 of 18.5 overs. That's a lot.
But Laura's always been great around Amy. I remember that the launch of the WSL that we went to, and how accommodating all the girls are, but Laura was in chatting to Amy, and it was really nice to see. So it was good. I think well done.
In any room with professional cricketers, Laura's almost closer to Amy in age than she is to some of the more senior players.
We had a 15-year-old in WSL this year.
That's also true. Yeah, I mean, Laura is 22, I think, and she's just an amazing woman. Very, very bright as well. I think she got 7 or 8 A's at the trick. But just such an ambassador for the game. Understands the importance of talking to young cricketers like Amy, and I mean all of that plus probably the best looking cover drive in the game.
She got to captain that first game in the WSL, which is really nice to see her do her thing, and because obviously Nadine de Klerk had a niggle. It was fascinating to see her interact with all the other players, because a lot of the players in the WSL are actually in their teenagers or early 20s. So it was really nice, and they won that match, so that was also pretty cool. But they had like all the spinners in the draft all went to her team, so it was pretty easy.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, the news is it is the 81st over. The second new ball has been taken, handed by Marais Rasmus to Lungi Ngidi, and he will turn at the top of his mark from the Henops River end, 3 slips and a gully in place. And the first ball is in that corridor of uncertainty. And there's no uncertainty from the batsman's point of view. He threw the kitchen sink at it, but he missed it completely. Goes through to the keeper, no run.
Yeah, a little bit of Shep Weber was beaten by the pace there off Ngidi. Dustin Shanaka getting used to the 130 k's an hour from Sipamla and Mulder, now is getting a little bit closer to the 140s with Ngidi.
Yeah, I often worry about Ngidi's fitness. He's definitely better than he was. This is quite wide outside the off stump. It actually jagged away off the pitch as well. It looked wider than it was, and goes through to the keeper. I just get the sense that he's a really big muscular guy, and should probably be bowling 5Ks an hour faster than he is. I'm not sure. But I worry sort of in the long term with the additional, and I'm not even saying he's fat. I think he carries just a lot of muscle weight as well.
He's lost a lot of weight though.
He has.
Yeah,
he
has lost it.
He's got better, but still, very, very muscular, particularly sort of around the thighs, and it drives a lot of power through the crease. And I hope that they protect him from an injury point of view.
So I think what he's done is that his pace has dropped a lot over the past year. He's no longer bowling those high 140s. He's now lower 140s and high 130s, which is something a lot of people have picked up and said it wasn't great. But he's still a very good bowler from a limited over sense. The question obviously is, in the longer format, can he be part of this attack with that lower pace?
Defended into the offsides, they look at each other and decide that they are able to come through for a single because Temba Bavuma is not fielding there. It's Aiden Markram who jogs across from, I'm assuming, gully to make the fielding at a forward point. Where is Temba Bavuma fielding if he's not in a sort of buzzy cover type place?
It's probably on the leg side to cover a lot of ground.
Maybe. So we'll keep an eye out. Someone will be on Temba watch to see where he is. Rajitha is facing on 2, Shanaka's on 22, and Sri Lanka 332 for 6. Lungi Ngidi, 5th ball of the over, right arm over, outside the off stump. The batsman has a half-hearted spar at it, but without any real intent. Goes through to the keeper. 332 for 6.
That one seemed away a little bit. Nice little cherry there for Ngiti to play with and ball to.
Yes, indeed. In the background, Heinrich Nokia down at a quite square fine leg is warming up and stretching, so he's going to be taking the new cherry from the other end. Interestingly, Adrian Holdstock is fulfilling his umpire's duties at point rather than at square leg because of the sun. If you see his shadow, he would be looking into the sun if he was at square leg. Another ball outside the off stump.
There's Temba.
There's Temba who's just handed his hat to, or Lungi's hat, I would assume. Back
he was at mid-off.
Was he at mid-off all along? Seems a bit of a waste of Temba's talents. I would rather just not have him mid-off and have Temba buzzing around in that like short cover. 332 for 6. Mulder's been the pick of the bowlers today. He's bowled 18 overs, 3 for 68. Looked knackered by the time he had finished. The 2 opening bowlers, in fact, Sapamla was the other opener, but the 2 traditional new ball bowlers, Notker 1 for 53 off 16, and Lungi also taking the 1 wicket, and that other wicket to falling to Lutus Sapamla for his first ever Test match wicket. Heinrich Nokia coming in from the pavilion end. It's a full ball, really on the money right away. And that could so easily have clipped the off stump. The batsman, Shanaka, playing inside the ball and didn't manage to even have the skill to nick it, to be honest.
That ball seaming away off the pitch very nicely there. Shanaka ending up outside the off stump. I think that's what saved him there. Because I do think if he was probably in the middle, he probably would have edged that because he would be reaching for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was a classic ball that would have nicked off an opening batsman. This one much wider, and Shanaka is able to just throw the bat at it, and it squirts off down to Vian Mulder, who's at that deep cover position, and they go through for a single. The triple Nelson, 333 for 6.
Do we lift up our legs? Does Sri Lanka do this?
My feet are
we definitely don't lift up our legs. Interesting little piece of research that was done When would it have been? I don't know. I saw it recently. That looking at the Australian teams are twice as likely to go out on regular Nelson 1-1-1 to lose a wicket on 1-1-1 as they are on 87.
Oh yes, so that was Andrew Sampson in the last test.
Oh, did he put it out then?
Yes, in that last India-Australia test.
Okay, it was a piece of stats that would have been worthy of Chris TV for sure. That most recent ball was outside the off stump and sort of half played and missed, half left, or one of those sort of shots, and through to the keeper. 4 slips and a gully in place at the moment for Heinrich Nortje, and they're about to bring in Keshav Maharaj, who's jogging across to a backward point. So a real proper cordon. He comes in again. Oh, he's getting a way drift in the air, but it means that it's probably a little bit wider than it needed to be. And Rajitha flicking his bat at it, but not making contact. No run.
Yeah. So Chris says on Twitter, hadn't really thought about it, but can't really think of a fast bowler with an Ngidi-like build. What other bowlers have that height and muscle? He's asking what other bowlers have that height and muscle. Tremlett and Collar's Brathwaite are kind of similar, but hardly had long careers.
Yeah, and they were much bigger around the shoulders than Lungi is, whereas Lungi carries his weight sort of around the waist, but not in a, I mean, he's basically got big buttock muscles and then very strong thighs. This is squirted away through, sort of past gully. I mean, it was never a catch, but it runs away for 4, and Rajitha goes to 6. Sri Lanka 337 for 6. Was this an edge? Let's have a look. Or his weight was all wrong when he played that. He was sort of reaching out for it, no footwork whatsoever, and did actually fly in the air. I'm curious to see how close this got to Aiden Markram at gully there. It was in the air. Oh, it was actually closer to Keshav Maharaj, probably at backward point. But that could have gone anywhere. Yeah. He bowls a really, really good ball, but straighter, teasing the shot out of Rajitha, who has a push at it, and he misses it and goes through to the keeper. Rajitha is a walking edge at the moment. I mean, he's got to nick off at some point. Surely.
But that's where you need a bowler Yorker. All the 6 balls that have been bowled have been outswingers outside the off stump. Like, where's the Yorker?
He's just setting him up, and then the big booming and swinging.
We have no time to be patient. South Africa has no time to be patient. 337 for 6.
Somebody else is overly used to white ball cricket, I think, AB.
No, I mean, fair enough, but Sri Lanka almost there. I think 350 plus is going to be very difficult for this Proteas lineup, who hasn't really scored much runs.
Yeah.
Of late.
I agree with you. I think they're closing in on a very, very safe total here. The first ball of Lungi Ngidi's next over, a really agricultural slash at it by Dasun Shanaka. What on earth was he thinking? It was sort of banged in a bit, and Shanaka tried to hit it into the Henops.
Is the Henops behind the stadium?
The Henops is behind Lungi Ngidi.
Oh yes,
okay. It runs under the Gautrain bridge there.
Yes, I remember. Oh, yes, and then it comes. Okay.
Yeah. I think so, anyway.
I used to work in Centurion.
Oh, well, there you go, but not in the Henops, necessarily. You weren't a gondola driver or something like that.
So on the eastern side, on the western side of the stadium, obviously it's you've got the outsurance and momentum. So the river runs that side too. And it normally causes like sinkholes. That area of Centurion is the worst part. And so I'm just trying to get my bearings to figure out. Okay, it comes from the south through to the north, but yeah.
Third ball of the over, peach of a delivery, back of a length, forcing Shanaka to play at it, but it goes past the outside edge, just constantly at the moment.
So whenever you listen to a traffic report.
Yeah.
Jean Avenue in Centurion is the one that had it had a sinkhole like last year, like the biggest sinkhole in the world. They closed down the entire road because it was really bad. But I don't know what's happening with the topography of Centurion, but it's when it rains, it causes a lot of damage.
Jeez.
Oh, Lungi Ngidi has gone past the outside edge 4 balls in a row here. And I mean, he's seeing the funny side, but how he can't get it to whisper it past that edge, I don't know. Come on, man, you've got to get a flick.
Just go a straight ball on off stump, please. Somebody do that at least.
Yeah, he's
It's
right.
beautiful watching this. It's beautiful watching this, but you know, it's sometimes, and that's what I loved about Kagiso. Kagiso had that Yorker ball that he would always just put in somewhere along the line in and over, and just keep the batsman honest.
Gideon for the 5th ball of his over, exactly the same sort of ball, but slightly straighter, and he does get some bat on it. Maharaj does the fielding at Madon, and no run, 337 for 6.
That's much better. That was going to hit off stump.
Yeah, so force him to play. You're bowling against youngsters with no Test match experience. Force them to play as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, because South Africa seem to think that the tail, and they've always done this ever since I've watched cricket, is they've always assumed that the tail like to edge the ball to slip.
Yeah, you've got to bowl it straight to get an edge. And he definitely has been straighter those last 2 balls. Could hear you complaining. I think he could. And that's the end of the over. 337 for 6. And that's what the Australians.
Yes,
that's what the Australians did, targeting Peshwara in this. What's his name? Che. It is Che Peshwara. Yeah. In this series, they forced him to play when he's first come to the crease, not given him anything to leave whatsoever, and as a result, got him nicking off twice in the previous innings. Pujara, of course.
And Kohli as well. Kohli, you must be on the money. The money.
Kohli's head was in the delivery room at the maternity section of his local hospital all the way through that test. I think he wasn't really present.
It was funny how the Australians were offering for him and his wife to have to give birth to the baby in Australia.
Oh, really? That would have been hysterical.
There was a tweet I think I saw where they were saying, no, look, you and your wife can give birth in Australia. The good thing is that your son will play for Australia.
No, I mean, then what you do is you send the Prime Minister down with the passport. There, like, you know, while the baby is still getting showered off. And of course they would say, congratulations, it's a girl.
But even now, they can still play.
These days, it would count. Absolutely, it would count. What is Mrs. Kohli's batting like?
I don't know.
Well, she keeps him in line, so...
very good. Heinrich Nokia has bowled 2 balls of his over, both of them much straighter than Lungi Ngidi was doing, or they were as straight as Lungi was for the previous, for his last 2 balls. He's targeting the thighs of Rajitha there, and he's able to just walk into the onside. So Shanaka now is going to be facing. He's on 23 or 46, batted nicely. 338 for 6. Come on, Heinrich Nokia. Get us a wicket here, lad.
I mean, Rajitha's last shot, he was looking at point. He played it to find leg. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, sort of walked across the way. Yeah, I think so. This one was outside the off stump. It's shorter ball and went past the outside edge. He did have a bit of a flash at it, but wasn't able to get the edge. No run.
And so Otto tweeting us saying, I'm correct. The Henops River runs past the stadium on the south side, goes past the Centurion Mall, and that's where it always causes flooding. Lots of dolomite in that area, which causes sinkholes, most notably the huge one in Jean Avenue.
Wide outside the off stump, no run. I mean, I love the potential irony of a big insurer like Momentum's head offices disappearing into a sinkhole. It would definitely be a side that the weather gods had a sense of humor, I think.
Oh my word! Oh, that would be something else. But interesting enough, there's a gaping hole where the sponsor needs to go for the Proteas team. So
yeah.
that's a sign of the times.
Yeah, good point. They don't have a sponsor on their shirts at the moment. Just the New Balance, which is the kit sponsor. It's not quite the same thing. Straight a ball defended into the offside. They're going to be able to come through for at least one here, probably just the one. Keshav,
Do you think
if Momentum are comfortable with sinkholes, then sponsoring the Proteas is not a bad idea.
they already were sponsoring the women's team. I'm not
They
quite
still are.
sure.
They still are. Yeah, the women's team still called the Momentum Proteas. It's just the men's team they don't want to touch. Can they take our 10 Rand sponsorship and we can put it on there, 1WSR?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure they would be thrilled to wear the 1WSR brand.
And then be the 1WSR Proteas.
Yeah, we give them free headphones. They can listen to us as well. Everyone wins.
We only have 8 shirts though. They're all XXL.
Yeah, but they'll be so good they'll only bat down to 7, so it'll be absolutely fine.
Fuck need a shirt though.
Yeah, Fuff won't need a shirt. But what you must do is do one of those deals where he tattoos 1WSR onto his left pec.
Wow.
You could probably tattoo it about 100 times onto Fuff's left pec and still have space over.
Yeah. So
we talk rubbish at the end of the day.
We've got 6 more minutes to go, guys. So let's just pull it together. It's the final. Yeah, we're already in the final 30 minutes, and I think how many overs have been bowled already? So
we've on about 83, I think 84, somewhere around 84. There. Yeah.
So those points are going to be decreased by the fact that we can't finish our over it.
Of course, because it now has sort of league table implications. I think everyone in South Africa has given up even thinking about the test match.
Look, we win this series. We win this series 2-0.
Yeah.
We go above Sri Lanka at 6, so we go to number 6 in the world, which isn't as bad as being 7. Yes, we are.
Yeah. I mean, firstly, that's a huge if we win 2-0. We're going to have to take at least 1 wicket tonight, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Well, not through lack of trying. I mean, we really have had a go. Interesting stat that only 2 balls bowled with the new ball would have hit the stumps, and both of those were the last 2 that Lungi bowled in that previous over. A good ball here, just shooting up off a length and into the ribs of Rajita, but he plays it very, very well, just knocking it down into the pitch. Sri Lanka 346.
The Proteas will be wanting to bowl to Rajita because Shanaka looks quite comfortable. But that's been my problem all day long. You can't bowl over 300 balls and only have about 30 of them or 40 of them hitting the stumps and everything else looking for an edge, because that means you're one-dimensional in your bowling plans, which is something that we'd have to ask Mark Barcher as well. But he keeps on giving sarcastic comments in press conferences.
Jeez, did you see that? Oh my word!
It's right on his fingers, eh?
Yeah.
And calling for the magic spray.
Oh. Ooh. That's not going to help the over 8 cause, and the South Africans are getting a little bit angry.
Surely this is not our fault.
Yeah, no, they'll make a note of this sort of thing.
And also the injury, the hammy, or was it a hip flexor or was it a hammy?
The hip flexor that went, yeah. I mean, it was completely. He couldn't walk after it. I mean, they had to literally carry him off the field.
That's a very odd injury for cricket, surely.
It was strange. You know, it was as they took a very, very tight, quick single. So I don't know whether that was related to it or whether it was a pre-existing injury or something like that. But I mean, normally hip flexors are sort of overuse type injuries. It's not, it's not like he twisted it or anything like that. It was literally just taking that quick single and it wasn't even as he took off. He was already 3/4 of the way through the run when he suddenly pulled that blame. So look, I mean, we hope that maybe it's not nearly as serious as it looked, but I wasn't optimistic that we're going to see him again this series, unfortunately. And a pity because he deserved a Test match 100 on the form that he showed.
Look, he's coming to South Africa to sit in the change room now and also sit in a hotel. So it's not the best.
Yeah, so you can't even. I mean, surely they can send him home. I'm not sure. Although he's got very, very good potential medical care here, sports medical care in this area. Fuller ball by Ngidi, forcing the batsman to play, which is exactly where it should be. And I think, let's see 3 balls here, Lungi, to hitting each one hitting the top of bar. I think that's what we need to do. Fuller and really, really forcing Rajitha to play every single one. Rajitha's done well. He's been patient. I mean, he's not been great at leaving the ball. He's missed them rather than left them outside the off stump. But he survived. He's there, about to face his 25th ball with 7 on the board. Oh, another one outside the off stump, another one past the outside edge. Lungi Ngidi wondering what he needs to do to be able to buy an edge here.
Look, I think the good thing for South Africa here is that Sri Lanka scored 340 in these 85 overs, so it's quite rapid. So that gives them a lot of time to get. If it was like 250 for 6, it would have been a little bit more frustrating. You would have wanted that extra wicket, and they still do. But I think they may have a little bit more time tomorrow morning, because you also want to get in, because if this team scores 340, what's the total that you're going to set in order for you to be able to set this game up for you to win?
Yeah, Fuller ball, and he was going for the LBW here, but defended into the offside, no real problem. 340 for 6. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that scoring 340 in your first innings, you're already saving more tests than you're losing from that position, and they're probably going to get to 400 here. They've still got 3 wickets still to fall. Remember only 9 will fall in this inning.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that on the face of it, batting has been pretty easy, apart from the occasional ball that spat up from Bjorn Mulder. He angled this one in again, and I think basically the batsman just wore that one. He sort of walked across into it and maybe got his bat down in time.
Maria Rasmus is teasing us here.
Is he going to knock off the ball? Come on, Maria! Come on! Quinton de Kock not exactly sprinting to his mark. I think that's it for the day. Yep.
Yeah.
Pumps all round in the Sri Lankan dressing room. Very satisfying day for them, apart from the injury sustained by De Silva. But I think they're looking very, very happy.
Yes, a very good day for Sri Lanka. 340 for 6. Just to run through the scorecard quickly for Sri Lanka today, Karunaratne was out. Kusal Perera was out first. Karunaratne was out first. Bowled Ngidi, he edged onto the stumps, 22. Kusal Perera caught de Kock, bowled Mulder for 16. Kusal Mendes caught Ngidi at mid-on, bowled Nokia for 12. Dinesh Chandimal was in a 200-run partnerships, one with Dhananjaya De Silva and De Quella. Chandimal 85, caught Du Plessis, bowled Miller. De Silva retired hurt off 79. He tore his hip flexor, as we were discussing earlier on, for 79. Both of them deserved 100 there. Nurashan De Quella, LBW, Mulder for 49. Dasun Shanaka is and then Wanindu Hasaranga was the last wicket to fall. Bowled Sapamla for 18. Shanaka is on 25 of 50, and Kasun Rajitha 7 off 27. That's 340 for 6. South Africa's bowling doesn't look that great, but we'll go through it anyway. Ngidi, 16 overs, 1 for 54. Sapamla, 1 for 68 overs, 14. He really struggled in that first spell, but he's brought it back really nicely to an economy of 4.86. Anush Nokia, 18 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 60. Vian Mulder has been the pick of the bowlers, 18 overs, 3 for 68. And Keshav Maharaj, 19 overs, 0 for 74. That's the end of the day. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. So thank you very much, everyone.
Simon, thanks very much. Yeah, I'm going to be going off and doing my site visits, but we've got a lot of guys available for commentary, so we'll set up the rest of the roster this evening. So I'll be certainly listening to you guys and hopefully tweeting through. But thanks very much for running the show today, Mpho, and handling all of the technical stuff behind the scenes and taking responsibility for the broadcast. AB as well, lovely to see you, mate. Always enjoyable sharing a mic with you. But yeah, guys, enjoy the rest of the test match.
Thank you very much. And that's the end of it. Lesale kakahiso.